Chapter 2490. However, no one would have thought that this rank 4 blood slave, who had just killed so many warriors, would not even have a chance to fight back in front of Tang Ao. It was killed by Tang Ao with one arrow. A lot of people were shocked by Tang Ao's cultivation, but even more of them were looking at the heavenly bow in Tang Ao's hand with greed. They could tell that Tang Ao's cultivation was only at the 3rd level of the astral reaching realm. It was not impossible for a 3rd level astral reaching realm warrior to kill a rank 4 blood slave, but it would be extremely difficult. They would not be able to kill it as cleanly as Tang Ao had done. Therefore, these people thought that it was not because Tang Ao was too powerful, but because the golden bow in Tang Ao's hand was too powerful. There were very few high-rank immortal weapons in the desolate martial realm. Every time one appeared, it would cause countless people to fight over it. The primordial sacred sky bow in Tang Ao's hand was obviously a top-grade immortal weapon. Only with this kind of weapon could Tang Ao instantly kill a rank 4 blood slave with his mere astral reaching realm cultivation base. The 3 warriors had already approached Tang Ao with malicious intentions. An ominous glint flashed in their eyes. In the desolate martial world, robbing other people's treasures was a common thing. It seemed that in the desolate martial realm, no matter what one wanted, one did not need to work hard to get it. Whatever one wanted, one could just rob it. As for whether one could rob it or not, it would depend on one's own ability. Among these 3 warriors, 2 were at the 3rd level of the astral reaching realm, and 1 was at the 4th level. Before, when facing the rank 4 blood slave, the 3 kept retreating. But now, after Tang Ao killed the rank 4 blood slave, the 3 wanted to attack Tang Ao instead. Gao Chun, what are you 3 doing? Seeing Gao Chun and the other 2 walking toward Tang Ao, a girl immediately scolded them. When dealing with the rank 4 blood slave, Gao Chun and the other 2 had the highest cultivation, but they had been hiding in the back. Now that Tang Ao had killed the blood slave, they had become greedy. Leave the bow and the demonic beast behind and scram. Gao Chun turned a deaf ear to the young woman's words. Although Tang Ao had just killed a level 4 blood slave with a single arrow, Gao Chun and the other 2 were not afraid of Tang Ao. This was because Tang Ao's primordial sacred sky bow clearly could not be used instantaneously. As long as Tang Ao made a move, the 3 of them were confident that they could kill Tang Ao immediately. Hence, the 3 of them looked as if they were certain that they could defeat Tang Ao. It was naturally impossible for them to let Tang Ao go after Tang Ao handed over the primordial sacred sky bow. Tang Ao had a treasure like the primordial sacred sky bow, so he must have other things on him. This was not the first time Gao Chen's group of 3 had killed someone and snatched their treasures. However, they had always done it in secret. But today, the temptation of the primordial sacred sky bow was too great for them. Seeing that Tang Ao and Huang Qir were both at the 3rd level of the astral reaching realm, the 3 of them naturally could not resist. The 3 had done this kind of thing many times, so they were not worried that there would be an uneven distribution. The treasures were in their hands first. As for how to divide them, there would be a way later. You want this bow? After Gao Chun finished speaking, not only did Tang Ao not get angry, he even smiled without a care. It was as if as long as Gao Chun said he wanted it, Tang Ao would immediately give him the primordial sacred sky bow. Before, when Gao Chun was robbing those warriors' treasures, some of them resisted, some of them begged for mercy, and some of them ran away. Chapter 2491. The warriors of the desolate martial realm were always in a state of chaos. Among the warriors of the same realm, the warriors of the desolate martial realm were usually much more powerful than the warriors of the other realms. On Tang Ao and Huang Qir, there was no desolate aura of the desolate martial realm. Obviously, the 2 were not warriors of the desolate martial realm. Therefore, Gao Chun and the other 2 were confident that they could take down Tang Ao and Huang Qir. Since you want it, come and get it, Tang Ao said with a serious face. Pretentious. Today, this cultivator will come and take it. As Gao Chun spoke, he took a step forward. His whole body soared into the sky as he pounced towards Tang Ao. Before arriving in front of Tang Ao, two short knives appeared in Gao Chen's hands. Then, Gao Chen raised both of his hands and waved the blades down. Two extremely sharp saber cheese instantly shot out, as if they wanted to kill Tang Ao and his horse on the spot. However, at this moment, Tang Ao also jumped up. Gao Chen and the rest watched in shock as Tang Ao's body turned into a golden body. Then, Tang Ao casually pointed out two fingers, shattering Gao Chen's sharp blade light easily. Gao Chen's attack was only to test Tang Ao. After seeing Tang Ao's power, Gao Chen was also a bit surprised. However, after thinking that there were three of them against Tang Ao, Gao Chen felt relieved. Although Tang Ao's power was a bit out of Gao Chen's expectation, Tang Ao's cultivation was only at the third level of the astral reaching realm. No matter how powerful Tang Ao was, there would be a limit. Right then, on the left and right sides of Tang Ao, there were two strong winds attacking. It was the other two who followed Gao Chen. It was not the first time the three had done something like this, so they had a tacit understanding. As soon as they attacked, they had already blocked all of Tang Ao's escape routes, giving Tang Ao the only choice, which was to fight Gao Chen head-on. With Gao Chen's astral reaching realm level 4 cultivation, plus the two of them watching from the side, Tang Ao would definitely not be his opponent. However, to the trio's surprise, Tang Ao had no intention of retreating at all. At this moment, Tang Ao's hands quickly formed seals. In an instant, hundreds of lightning hand seals appeared around Tang Ao. These hundreds of handprints gave Gao Chen an oppressive feeling. These handprints seemed to contain an extremely terrifying power. At this moment, Gao Chen hesitated. But in the instant that Gao Chen hesitated, the hundreds of handprints suddenly shook and immediately turned into 1,000 handprints. Thunderbolt 1,000 hand seal. Tang Ao roared out as a palm rumbled out. Thunder rumbled and swept in all directions. A wave of horrifying power spread out, and all of a sudden, the surrounding wind was blown back. Under Tang Ao's palm attack, Gao Chen and the other two did not even have a chance to resist. They were blown away by Tang Ao's palm attack. Gao Chen, who was the first to be hit, had a look of disbelief in his eyes. That palm attack from Tang Ao, even if he hesitated, he still made his strongest defense. However, his strongest defense was like a thin piece of paper in front of Tang Ao. A series of cracking sounds came out of Gao Chen's body, and soon, the qi on his body disappeared. The Thunderbolt 1,000 hand seal had shattered all of Gao Chen's internal organs, and it had also destroyed his life force. At this moment, Gao Chen was filled with endless regret. Chapter 2492. Puchi. After Gao Chen smashed into the yellow sand, he opened his mouth and spat out a stream of blood mixed with pieces of his internal organs. He immediately died. From the day Gao Chen killed someone, Gao Chen had thought about the day he would die. However, Gao Chen never thought that he would die in such a way. "Senior, please spare my life." After seeing Tang Ao kill Gao Chen with one palm, the other two naturally knew that they had kicked an iron plate today. In the desolate martial realm, no matter what you wanted, you could snatch it. The premise was that you had the corresponding strength or pay the corresponding price. Get lost. Tang Ao was not a bloodthirsty person. If it were not for the fact that many people around him coveted his primordial sacred sky bao, Tang Ao would not have needed to kill Gao Chen with lightning speed. The reason why Tang Ao did this was to intimidate the group of people around him. Most of the warriors in the desolate martial realm were bloodthirsty and aggressive. Killing people and stealing their treasures was a common occurrence. Once Tang Ao backed down, there would be a second and a third Gao Chen in the near future. Sure enough, after seeing Tang Ao kill Gao Chen with lightning speed, the people who were eager to make a move retracted their gazes. Although treasures were good, they needed to be alive to use them. "Senior, this is your blood crystal." It was a young man who respectfully handed over the blood crystal that had dropped from the level 4 blood slave to Tang Ao. Just as Tang Ao was about to reach out to receive it, his expression suddenly changed. As Tang Ao's figure retreated, the green lotus sword soul suddenly stabbed out. At this time, a folding fan swept over and swept away Tang Ao's green lotus sword soul. At the same time, the young man also moved and chased after Tang Ao. Your killing intent is too heavy. You take people's lives when you make a move. Today I, the desert scholar, will have to teach you a lesson. The folding fan in the young man's hand danced, and a sharp blade swept towards Tang Ao. Although the white-clothed young man had taken the initiative, Tang Ao's mind moved, and the battle Saint Bone Life spirit instantly appeared. Tang Ao did not waste any words and directly attacked. This young man in white had been in the crowd the whole time, so Tang Ao did not notice him. But now, Tang Ao finally realized that he was a level 6 astral reaching realm warrior. Moreover, he was not an ordinary 6th level astral reaching realm expert. His entire body was filled with boundless and condensed immortal yuan. As he circulated his immortal spirit power, astral winds revolved around his body. It wasn't difficult to see how solid this young man's foundation was. Previously, on the boulder formation outside the desolate martial realm, Tang Ao had also seen many experts on the Hidden Dragon list and the Heroes list. However, in terms of the concentration and purity of the celestial spiritual power, there were really not many warriors who could compete with the young man in front of him. Senior brother Xiaohua, stop. It's not like that. While Xiaohua and Tang Ao were fighting, the girl who had just berated Gao Chun and the others immediately spoke up. However, right then, Xiaohua did not listen to her at all. In the beginning, Xiaohua launched the sneak attack because he wanted to take down Tang Ao as soon as possible and escort his junior sister disciple and the others back. However, after battling with Tang Ao, Xiaohua realized that although Tang Ao was only at the 3rd level of the astral reaching realm, he was no weaker than the Purple Bone Wolf and Shout Song of the Blood Race. After Xiaohua came out of his closed-door training, he wanted to fight with Shout Song or the Purple Bone Wolf to prove the results of his 80 years of closed-door training. However, with the sudden change in the Wind Desert, he could not find the Purple Bone Wolf or Shout Song at all. Although he did not find the Purple Bone Wolf or Shout Song, he was still able to meet Tang Ao, which made Xiaohua feel great. The only thing that made Tang Ao unhappy was that Tang Ao was too murderous. Although Gao Chun had done it before, it was not enough for him to die. When Tang Ao and Gao Chun were fighting, he used his killing attack right away, which killed Gao Chun instantly. Destruction Finger, Triple Fan. Chapter 2493. At the moment of collision, Tang Ao immediately felt that Xiaohua's fan contained 3 hidden forces. The first hidden force was easily destroyed by the life extermination finger. The second hidden force was in a stalemate with the aftermath of the life extermination finger. However, when the third hidden force attacked, the battle sage bone life soul in Tang Ao's 2 fingers actually shattered. However, when the battle sage bone life soul shattered, it also offset the remaining power of the Shura fan. On the surface, it seemed that Xiaohua had the upper hand, but in fact, it was because Tang Ao did not use his immortal artifact. The Shura fan in Xiaohua's hand was a 9th grade immortal artifact that had been refined once. This level of immortal artifact was comparable to a postnatal divine artifact. Tang Ao was at a huge disadvantage when he used his life soul to fight Xiaohua head-on. With a thought, the battle sage bone life soul instantly recovered. At the same time, an axe appeared in Tang Ao's hand. It was the demon slaying axe. Since he had suffered a small loss in the clash of strength, Tang Ao could also compete with Xiaohua in strength. Originally, when he saw that Tang Ao did not take out his immortal artifact, Xiaohua was still thinking about whether he should put away the Shura fan. However, an immortal artifact was a part of a warrior's ability. In addition, Xiaohua had cultivated the Shura fan for many years. 60% of his skills were unleashed with the help of the Shura fan. After putting away the Shura fan, the battle was also unfair to Xiaohua. Now, that Tang Ao took out the demon-slaying axe. It was exactly what he Xiaohua wanted. After taking out the demon-slaying axe, Tang Ao felt very helpless. Tang Ao could see that the Shura fan in he Xiaohua's hand had become a part of his body. The weapon that Tang Ao was best at was the sword. However, after Tang Ao gave the scarlet gold sword to Shun Yunwei, Tang Ao did not have a weapon that could compete with the Shura fan. If Tang Ao directly took out the heaven-raising divine needle, he would obviously be bullying he Xiaohua. Tang Ao had no choice but to take out his demon-slaying axe. As for the primordial sacred sky bow, given Tang Ao's current strength, the primordial sacred sky bow would not be able to gain any advantage in such a battle. Hence, Tang Ao did not intend to use the primordial sacred sky bow. The Azura fan in he Xiaohua's hand suddenly shook and once again slashed horizontally towards Tang Ao. This time, Tang Ao did not retreat, but instead advanced. At the same time, the monster beheading axe in his hand also chopped down furiously. In terms of strength, the demon-slaying axe had never been afraid of anyone. Boom! The moment Tang Ao's demon beheading axe and he Xiaohua's Azura fan collided, spiritual energy exploded, a strong wind swept out, and a terrifying sound spread out in all directions. With the two of them as the center, a powerful shockwave spread out in all directions. Immediately after, everyone saw a figure being sent flying. Everyone thought that it was Tang Ao, but when they took a closer look, they were all stunned. He Xiaohua had been practicing the ninefold fan, a supreme technique of the Golden Sand City, since he was young. After coming of age, he had inherited the Golden Sand City's treasure, the Azura fan. The 9 layers fan cultivated a total of 9 layers of hidden energy. These 9 layers of hidden energy were stronger than the previous one. When the 9 layers of hidden energy erupted at the same time, it could easily destroy mountains and shake the heavens and earth. Although everyone knew that he Xiaohua had not used the 9 layers Azura fan secret technique in the previous exchange, it was the first time that many people had seen he Xiaohua not completely suppress other martial artists in terms of strength when fighting. Awesome! In midair, he Xiaohua stabilized his body and shouted loudly. After coming out of seclusion, he Xiaohua had not been able to find the purple bone wolf in Shout's song. However, today's battle with Tang Ao had made him very satisfied. Just as he Xiaohua was about to continue attacking Tang Ao, he Xiaohua received a voice transmission from Chun Yunyan. Chapter 2494. Chun Yunyan told he Xiaohua the whole story of what had happened before. He Xiaohua was the head disciple of the Golden Sand City Lord and the head disciple of the City Lord Mansion. He was naturally not an unreasonable person. When he Xiaohua arrived, he saw the scene of Tang Ao killing Gao Chun. Originally, he Xiaohua thought that because Gao Chun and the other two had offended Tang Ao had directly killed Gao Chun. But now, it seemed that there was more to the matter. Moreover, looking at the dodging eyes of the surrounding martial artists, he Xiaohua knew that Chun Yunyan was right. Thinking of this, he Xiaohua put away his Shura fan and cupped his fists towards Tang Ao. This one is he Xiaohua. There was some misunderstanding just now, and I apologize to you. May I know your name? Tang Ao. Seeing he Xiaohua's calm eyes, Tang Ao didn't pretend to be polite. Although Tang Ao didn't have a good impression of this he Xiaohua, Tang Ao felt that he Xiaohua's junior sister Chun Yunyan was not bad. Previously, when Gao Chun and the other two had attacked him, only Chun Yunyan had scolded them. Tang Ao, he Xiaohua repeated the name. He didn't have a deep impression of Tang Ao's name. However, after remembering that Tang Ao was a martial artist of the Immortal Ruins Chamber of Commerce, he Xiaohua smiled calmly. The true martial realm was vast, and there were countless martial geniuses. Naturally, he couldn't know every single one of them. Senior brother Tang Ao, thank you for saving us just now. At this moment, Chun Yunyan also walked up. That rank 4 blood slave had been continuously attacking Chun Yunyan and the others. Chun Yunyan and the other martial artists around her were all at the 3rd level of the astral reaching realm. Even with the few of them working together, they were still in danger. If not for Tang Ao's help, some of them would have fallen at the hands of that blood slave. Junior sister Chun, no need to be so polite, Tang Ao said casually. As for why Tang Ao had killed a rank 4 blood slave, it was mostly because of the blood slave's blood crystals. Naturally, Tang Ao would not say this out loud. After all, Tang Ao was able to save Chun Yunyun and the others in passing. It was already not bad. Brother Tang Ao, what's your next plan? He Xiaohua and Tang Ao got to know each other through fighting. If Tang Ao had no place to go, He Xiaohua would like to invite Tang Ao to Jinsha City. Although many blood slaves had appeared near the Golden Sand City, the top powerhouses of the Blood Clan were being held back by the 10 Azura elders of the Chamber of Immortal Ruins. The Golden Sand City governor and a group of elders were guarding the city, so it was naturally as solid as a rock. Junior sister and I are going to a campsite to meet up with our friends from the Chamber of Commerce in the Immortal Ruins. Naturally, Tang Ao could hear the invitation in He Xiaohua's words. However, Tang Ao did not intend to go to Jinsha City openly. Needless to say, there must be an Yin-Yang realm powerhouse guarding the Golden Sand City. Now that Tang Ao was facing a top powerhouse of the Yin-Yang realm, he had no way to fight back. In the desolate martial realm, top-notch immortal weapons were very rare. After the rank 7 immortal weapon, it was already very rare in the desolate martial realm. Previously, Tang Ao had exposed the primordial sacred heaven bow and the monster-slaying axe. In this way, once Tang Ao went to Jinsha City and a Yin-Yang realm warrior had malicious intentions, Tang Ao would not even have the chance to regret it. Tang Ao believed that He Xiaohua and Qin Yunyun would not reveal the matter of him possessing a top-grade immortal artifact. However, there were so many experts here who had witnessed the fight between him and Chun Xiaohua. It would be very irrational for Tang Ao to blatantly go to the Golden Sand City. Even if Tang Ao wanted to go to Jinsha City, he could not go like this. Chapter 2495. If that's the case, we'll meet again. No matter what trouble you encounter in the Gale Desert, you can come to Jinsha City to find me. As He Xiaohua spoke, he handed a golden token to Tang Ao. As soon as he saw the golden token, Tang Ao immediately knew that He Xiaohua wanted to make friends with him. The token was made of pure gold, and there was a defensive inscription formation on it. Tang Ao estimated that if he wore this token, he could withstand a full blow from a warrior at the early stage of the Yin-Yang realm. Such a treasure was considered a good treasure in the desolate martial realm, where fairy weapons were scarce. When I'm done with my business, I'll definitely come and bother you. Tang Ao did not give He Xiaohua a fairy weapon. Although Tang Ao did not have any extra 9th-grade fairy weapons, Tang Ao still had a few 8th-grade fairy weapons. It was not that Tang Ao was reluctant to take them out, but because these fairy weapons were not suitable for He Xiaohua. Tang Ao planned to refine a suitable fairy weapon for He Xiaohua after he found the pure gold sand. Although Tang Ao could only refine a 4th-grade fairy weapon at most by using the ice purification method, after refining a 4th-grade fairy weapon, Tang Ao could use the spirit refining forging method to refine it 5 times. In this way, the power of the fairy weapon would be comparable to a 9th-grade fairy weapon. After a brief conversation, He Xiaohua left with Qin Yunyun and the others. As they gradually got further away, many people took out the voice transmission jade slips and began to send messages to their respective families. There were very few top-grade fairy weapons in the desolate martial realm. In the desolate martial realm, if one wanted to get a top-grade fairy weapon, they could only look outside. Tang Ao's primordial sacred heaven bow and demon-slaying axe were things that many people coveted. Fortunately, Tang Ao understood this, so Tang Ao did not go with He Xiaohua. Huang Qir didn't know about this, so she asked with doubt, "Senior brother Tang Ao, why aren't we going back to Golden Sand City with them? Aren't we going there?" Tang Ao nodded. "Senior brother Tang Ao, why aren't we going back to Golden Sand City with them? Let's take a look around for now. If we can find the pure gold sand and there are enough blood slaves around, there's no need for us to go to Golden Sand City." Tang Ao did not go into details and only gave a simple explanation. Oh, Huang Qir nodded her little head. Although Tang Ao had explained, Huang Qir still did not understand why Tang Ao did not travel with Xiaohua and the others. The Gale Desert was too vast. If he was not familiar with the route, even if Tang Ao knew where Golden Sand City was, he might not be able to find it. However, if he followed Xiaohua and the others, the result would be different. Xiaohua and the others were all martial artists from Golden Sand City, so they naturally knew the location of Golden Sand City. After Xiaohua and the others left, Tang Ao changed his direction slightly and continued to move forward. As they moved closer to Golden Sand City, Tang Ao and Huang Qir met more and more blood slaves. Along the way, Tang Ao and Huang Qir killed all the blood slaves they encountered, leaving no survivors. Tang Ao and Huang Qir harvested the blood slaves crazily, and their points were getting higher and higher. At this moment, on the Chamber of Immortal Ruins, the names of some martial artists had completely turned gray. This meant that the elites of the Chamber of Immortal Ruins had fallen in the Gale Desert. Previously, there had been a total of 250 warriors who had entered the Gale Desert together. However, now there were only slightly more than 200 of these 250 people left. Chapter 2496. This meant that more than 90% of the martialists would have no problem getting into the Hidden Dragon list. So far, the Chamber of Immortal Ruins had lost almost 50 warriors who had participated in the trial this time. All of them were on the Heroes list and the Hidden Dragon list. Although some of them had low scores, they were still on the Hidden Dragon list. Even though some of them had lower scores, none of the Hidden Dragon list martialists had been eliminated. What's going on? Tang Ao suddenly asked as the raging flaming Pegasus galloped. Through Tang Ao's soul remembrance, Tang Ao saw many blood slaves and their clansmen heading in another direction. According to the map, that direction wasn't the Golden Sand City, and there wasn't anything special there. Since that was the case, why were the Blood Clan still heading in that direction? Tang Ao saw that even the Blood Clan martialists didn't know what was in that direction. They just followed the blood slaves in that direction with faces full of doubt. Unlike Rapid Wind City and Four Seasons City, the Golden Sand City had been hostile to the Blood Clan for a long time. As long as the Blood Clan appeared in the Golden Sand City's territory, they would definitely be killed by the martialists of the Golden Sand City. Hence, this region was also very unfamiliar to the Blood Clan martialists. However, at that moment, these blood slaves were heading in a particular direction excitedly. It was as though there was a treasure in that region that attracted them. Tang Ao pondered for a moment before letting Huang Qir put away the raging flaming Pegasus. Then, he used the Wind Thunder Dark Cloud to bring Huang Qir over. This was because Tang Ao had already discovered that there was a small amount of pure gold sand in this region. Furthermore, the deeper they went in the direction of the blood slaves, the more pure gold sand there was, and the better the quality. At that moment, there weren't any top-notch Blood Clan martialists among these martialists, nor were there any particularly powerful Blood Clan geniuses. Tang Ao glanced at the Blood Clan's bounty list. Tang Ao was sure that none of these martialists were on the list. This also allowed Tang Ao to heave a sigh of relief. Generally, the Blood Clan martialists on the list were very difficult to deal with. In Tang Ao's eyes, the rest of the warriors of the Blood Clan were not much stronger than the warriors of the Ruins of Immortality. As he went deeper, Tang Ao gradually felt a cold aura. This coldness was not from the cold weather, but a feeling of oppression that came from the soul. Moreover, Tang Ao discovered that the surrounding desert was no longer reddish gold. Instead, it had turned into a strange dark black. Logically speaking, the scarlet gold color should have been easier to spot amidst the black sand. However, on the contrary, there was no pure gold sand in the black sand. Senior brother Tang Ao, what's that? After getting a little closer, Huang Qir saw a huge stone tablet. At this moment, there was a dense spatial energy slowly revolving around the stone tablet. This is a spirit formation. However, this spirit formation seems to be somewhat strange, Tang Ao said in a very puzzled manner as he looked at the slowly revolving spirit formation on the dilapidated steel. With Tang Ao's eyesight, he could naturally tell that this formation was a product of the same era as this stone tablet. However, Tang Ao didn't know who had set up this spirit formation. After these blood slaves came here, they would immediately step into the spirit formation excitedly, as if there was something in the spirit formation that was summoning them. Seeing this strange scene, many of the Blood Clan martialists hesitated. After a long time, an astral-reaching realm 6th level Blood Clan martialist walked out. After whispering a few words to the surrounding people, this Blood Clan martialist directly entered the stone tablet. Chapter 2497. Senior Brother Tang Ao, why don't we go in and take a look? I'll leave the indigo spirit outside. If anything happens inside, we can teleport out through the indigo spirit at any time. All right. Tang Ao's face lit up, and he nodded. Tang Ao didn't expect Huang Qir's ancient indigo spirit to have the ability to teleport. However, it seemed like this indigo spirit's strength was limited and could only teleport within a short distance. Even so, the value of the ancient indigo spirit was still very huge. Just like when exploring these strange places, as long as the ancient indigo spirit was outside, even if anything happened in the barrier, it could be teleported out at the first instance. Hence, safety was greatly guaranteed. Although Tang Ao could also set up a space formation to teleport him and Huang Qir out if they encountered danger in the barrier. However, if this barrier interfered with Tang Ao's formation and caused Tang Ao's teleportation formation flag to be ineffective, it would be very dangerous if anything happened in the barrier. Tang Ao immediately took out the formation flag and set up a concealment formation. Then, he set up a teleportation formation within the concealment formation. The teleportation formation could be activated at any time. As long as Tang Ao activated the formation flag in his hand, he could be teleported over immediately. Of course, this was under normal circumstances. However, if the barrier interfered with Tang Ao's formation, then Tang Ao's preparations would naturally be meaningless. Fortunately, the ancient indigo spirit was good at the special power of teleportation. No matter what Tang Ao and Huang Qir encountered in the barrier, as long as the two of them wanted to come out, the ancient indigo spirit could easily bring them out. After everything was prepared, Tang Ao brought Huang Qir and rushed towards the stone tablet. At that moment, there were no longer any blood-kindred warriors outside the stone tablet. There were only some blood slaves who came later. The sword aura in Tang Ao's hand swept out and blasted open passage. Then, Tang Ao and Huang Qir arrived at the entrance of the barrier. After Tang Ao and Huang Qir arrived, a shocking suction was emitted. Naturally, Tang Ao and Huang Qir were sucked in by the formation before they could react. After entering the spirit array, Tang Ao discovered that this place was indeed a barrier. Moreover, the scope of this barrier was very large. In Tang Ao's surroundings, apart from Huang Qir, the Blood Clan warriors who had just entered the spirit array, as well as those strange blood slaves, were unexpectedly not found by Tang Ao. The entire spirit formation was dark. Even the candlelight on the surrounding stone pillars was very dim. Tang Ao saw that there was a hot spring not far away. There was a black aura constantly surging in the hot spring. It looked very strange. However, it gave Tang Ao a sense of familiarity. This aura seemed to be a type of netherworld aura, but it was a little different from the netherworld aura that Tang Ao was familiar with. Just when Tang Ao was thinking about what to do next, the strange egg excitedly flew out. The egg's target was the hot spring that was emitting black gas. With a splash, the strange egg fell directly into the black hot spring. Then it swam around in the hot spring in enjoyment. Chapter 2498. Tang Ao sized up his surroundings. Then, Tang Ao discovered that this place seemed to be a plane formed by many interweaving spaces. Simply put, the array formation on the stone tablet was an entrance. After passing through that entrance, one would arrive at a different space. At this moment, Tang Ao and Huang Qir had arrived at a different space. Previously, the Blood Slaves and Blood Clan Martialists had arrived at another space. Huang Qir's strange demonic beast egg had been accidentally summoned by Huang Qir. Even Huang Qir herself didn't know what kind of demonic beast this demonic beast egg was. However, after a period of time, even if Huang Qir didn't summon it, this demonic beast egg would come out on its own to look for treasures of various attributes to absorb. Huang Qir found it fun, so every time it came out, Huang Qir would give it some treasures. However, this demonic beast egg was too difficult to hatch. Previously, Tang Ao had used countless treasures to accumulate them, but it had only strengthened the aura of this demonic beast egg a little. The demonic beast in the demonic beast egg showed no signs of hatching. After confirming that there was no danger in the surroundings, Tang Ao walked towards the hot spring. The water in the hot spring was as black as ink. This black color didn't make the water look dirty. It was a very pure black, just like the night sky. Tang Ao could vaguely sense that the origin power contained in this hot spring was the darkness origin. In the martialist world, the 5 elemental origins were the most common origin power. Many martialists' immortal spiritual energy attribute was also one of the 5 elemental origins, or a combination of a few. If an ordinary person had one origin or a fusion origin, their martial arts talent would be better. For example, in alchemy, a pure fire spirit root or a pure wood spirit root had a huge advantage. As for martialists who cultivated the frost arts and had an ice spirit root, not only would their cultivation speed be faster, but the frost arts they cultivated would also be stronger. However, in addition to the common 5 elemental origins, as well as the fusion ice, thunder, and wind origins, there's also a very rare origin, and that was the darkness origin. Because Tang Ao had the 9 dragons, Emperor's Jade Body, and the 5 elemental origins, Tang Ao could cultivate all elemental sorcery and would not lose to martial artists with pure spirit roots. However, Tang Ao couldn't cultivate magic techniques related to darkness essence. Darkness essence seemed to be an origin power that was independent of the 5 elemental origins. Tang Ao extended his hand into the hot spring pool. The bubbling hot spring water did not have a trace of temperature. Of course, it did not feel cold at all. At this moment, Tang Ao was in a mysterious state. This darkness source gave Tang Ao a feeling that he had never felt before. When Tang Ao came into contact with the darkness essence, he felt a little dizzy at first. However, after gradually adapting, Tang Ao closed his eyes. Tang Ao had already closed his eyes, but everything around him became clearer at this moment. Tang Ao saw that, just like him, Huang Qir was also comprehending the darkness origin. Because he had the 9 dragons, Emperor's Jade Body, Tang Ao was very familiar with the 5 elemental origins, and the origins evolved from the 5 elemental origins. However, after coming into contact with the darkness origin this time, Tang Ao had a whole new understanding. At this moment, Tang Ao's eyes were slightly closed. However, Tang Ao's eyes were blazing hot and bone-chilling, as though something was about to split open. Chapter 2499. Tang Ao saw that this place was just as he had imagined. There were many different spaces intertwined together. At this moment, Tang Ao saw that the Blood Clan members who had entered earlier were all in an incomparably scorching space of lava. Blood Clan warriors liked cold and dark places. In this scorching and bright space, many of the Blood Clan members had ugly expressions on their faces. The brightness wasn't ordinary white light. Instead, it was a kind of light that carried a scorching aura. Tang Ao looked at the blood slaves again and realized that they were all in a space of astral winds. The wind blades in this space of astral winds weren't ordinary wind blades, but extremely sharp spatial wind blades. Tang Ao was slightly surprised. If he and Huang Qir hadn't fallen into this place, but into the space filled with spatial wind blades, then Tang Ao and Huang Qir would probably have to get the ancient blue spirit to teleport them back immediately. Other than the Blood Clan and the Blood Slaves, Tang Ao also saw many warriors in different spaces. Clearly, before Tang Ao and the Blood Clan warriors arrived, many warriors had already discovered this place and entered. After looking around, Tang Ao realized that other than the space where the Blood Slaves were, the other spaces weren't completely uninhabitable. However, Tang Ao also realized that all the spaces had a special characteristic. All the spaces here had one or more types of origin aura. Just as Tang Ao wanted to take a deeper look and see what was at the center of the intersection of these spaces, Tang Ao's eyes suddenly hurt. Immediately, two lines of blood appeared in Tang Ao's eyes. Tang Ao was shocked to discover that in just a short while he had actually expended 90% of his psyche. Tang Ao knew that with the help of the darkness origin, his heavenly polar eyes was already close to perfection. Previously, Tang Ao had used the heavenly polar eyes to look around, but he couldn't see anything. Now, with the help of the heavenly polar eyes, Tang Ao could see the intersecting spaces. Not only that, but Tang Ao also saw that there was a pitch-black demonic beast inside the egg that was absorbing the essence of darkness. This demonic beast seemed to be a small black bear the size of a puppy, but Tang Ao still did not know what kind of bear it was, or whether it was even a bear. Gotcha! At this moment, Tang Ao suddenly heard a crisp sound. After hearing this crisp sound, Huang Qir was also taken aback. Soon after, Huang Qir's face lit up. She pointed at the demonic beast egg and said to Tang Ao, "Senior Tang Ao, this little guy is about to come out." Tang Ao looked over. Tang Ao saw that cracks had appeared on the demonic beast egg. Previously, even the sharp claws of a rank 4 blood slave were unable to break open this demonic beast egg. It was clear that this demonic beast egg was extremely hard. Soon, more and more cracks appeared on the demonic beast egg, and an aura of life awakening spread out. Within this aura, there was even a faint pressure. Soon, the eggshell disappeared into thin air bit by bit. Soon after, a small bear that flickered between light and darkness appeared in front of Tang Ao and Huang Qir. However, this small black bear had a pair of wings on its back, and its chubby belly was flashing with 4 ancient runes. Chapter 2500. Very quickly, the little black bear's body completely solidified from its flickering state. Then, with a flap of its wings, its cute big eyes instantly opened. The moment it opened its eyes, at the intersection of this special space, a figure with 8 pairs of black wings on his back and a pair of curved horns on his head said indifferently, "I didn't expect that there would still be primal chaos beasts here." Cain's eyes revealed a deep look. He was sealed here by the myriad Tao Divine King, suppressing the inheritance of the myriad Tao Divine King. However, the inheritance of the myriad Tao Divine King had long been taken away by someone. It was just that the martial artist who took away the inheritance of the myriad Tao Divine King had used some unknown method and did not even pass through the space where Cain was. After the inheritance of the myriad Tao Divine King was taken away, Cain was still suppressed by the demon's sealing tablet. This time, it was unknown what had happened outside. It seemed that someone had activated some kind of top-notch array formation and actually lured the demon's sealing tablet out. Moreover, some reckless ants had even entered the demon sealing tombstone. At this moment, Cain really wanted to see the primal chaos beast in the dark space. Cain was not sure if he could break through the Divine King realm and escape from the demon's sealing tablet's formation after absorbing the essence of the primal chaos beast. However, after passing through the 9 demon sealing chains that were covered in runes, the myriad Tao Divine King was unable to kill Cain, but he could seal him in this place forever. Cain even guessed that the myriad Tao Divine King did not have any intention of letting him leave. Otherwise, after the myriad Tao Divine King found the inheritor, why didn't the inheritor come and take away the myriad Tao Divine King's treasure, the demon's sealing tablet, after so many years? At this time, Tang Ao keenly sensed that there seemed to be a strong warrior spying on this place. Immediately, Tang Ao relied on his senses to look in the direction of Cain, but he could only see chaos. Just as Tang Ao was looking in the direction of Cain, Tang Ao suddenly discovered a soft little head burrowing into his embrace. Tang Ao looked down and saw that the little black bear was looking at him with its big eyes. Now, that Tang Ao looked at the little black bear, he immediately realized that it looked malnourished. His chubby stomach was also flat. Although the pressure on his body was faintly discernible, the aura on his body was somewhat weak. "Little black bear, come, let Kier hug you." Seeing how cute the little black bear was, Huang Kier liked it very much. The demonic beasts that Huang Karen could control now were almighty and extraordinary. None of them were cute. Now that she saw the little black bear, Huang Kier immediately liked it very much. The bear cub seemed to be able to understand Huang Kier's words. After Huang Kier finished speaking, it immediately spread its black wings and flew towards Huang Kier. If Cain knew that the two fellows, Tang Ao, had actually mistaken the famous beast of chaos for a little black bear, he would definitely be so shocked that his jaw would drop. However, Cain had been sealed by the demon sealing tombstone, and his strength had been reduced to less than 10,000%. Even using divine telekinesis to sense the surroundings was extremely difficult. It was also because of this that Cain did not know that the blood breeds outside had activated the blood source formation. Rumble. After Huang Kier carried the cub's stomach immediately let out a rumbling sound. Huang Kier was stunned for a moment, then immediately understood that this little fellow was hungry. However, Huang Kier was troubled. When the chaos beast was still an egg, it had absorbed all sorts of natural treasures. Now that he had broken out of his shell, he wondered what he was going to eat. Chapter 25:01. Although the Spirit Beast Pill was called a Spirit Beast Pill, it was a new immortal pill that Tang Ao had refined using immortal herbs after coming to the Immortal Ruins. It was much better than the Spirit Beast Pills that he had refined with spirit herbs previously. He just didn't know if this little black bear would eat Spirit Beast Pills. Tang Ao opened the jade bottle and handed one Spirit Beast Pill over. The little black bear reached out with its paw to take the Spirit Beast Pill and sniffed it. Its eyes lit up. The little black bear then popped the Spirit Beast Pill into its mouth like it was eating a jelly bean and started munching on it. After eating the Spirit Beast Pill, the little black bear looked at Tang Ao pitifully. Seeing that this little fellow looked malnourished, Tang Ao handed the jade bottle over. There were 6 Spirit Beast Pills in one cauldron. Tang Ao's jade bottle contained exactly 6 pills. The little black bear followed Tang Ao's example and opened the jade bottle. However, Tang Ao didn't expect that this little guy would actually pour all the pills onto his little paws, then put them into his mouth and chewed them. Tang Ao was startled. Ordinary demonic beasts wouldn't eat more after eating one Spirit Beast Pill. Spirit Beast Pills were good stuff for beasts, but not all beasts could withstand the strong medicinal effects of the Spirit Beast Pill. Most of the demonic beasts would need to absorb and refine for a period of time after eating a Spirit Beast Pill before consuming a second one. However, this little black bear had eaten 6 Spirit Beast Pills in one go and was still looking at Tang Ao with a longing gaze. Tang Ao's skypole eyes turned and looked at the little black bear. Tang Ao saw that the little black bear's body was a mess. He couldn't see its organs at all. Tang Ao was secretly surprised, but he still took out 5 bottles of Spirit Beast Pills. Seeing that Tang Ao still had so many Spirit Beast Pills, the little black bear immediately didn't want Huang Kier anymore. Huang Kier thought that the little black bear was cute. In fact, the Chaos Beast felt that Huang Kier was cute too. That was why it was willing to stick to her. But now that there was something delicious, the little black bear naturally wanted to eat it first. "You little greedy cat, hurry up and come over." Huang Kier saw that the cub was actually tempted by Tang Ao's 5 bottles of Spirit Beast Pills and immediately said angrily. Hearing Huang Kier's words, the bear cub grabbed Tang Ao's Spirit Beast Core and flew towards Huang Kier's direction. Arriving in front of Huang Kier, the cub generously took out a bottle of spirit beast pills and handed it to her. This scene made Huang Qir and Tang Ao not know whether to laugh or cry. As the little black bear munched on the spirit beast pill, Tang Ao discovered that there were faint fluctuations from an array formation above the hot spring. The reason why the fluctuations were weak was not because the formation was weak, but because the formation was too well hidden. After Tang Ao activated his sky polar eyes, Tang Ao discovered that there was indeed an array formation here. This was a 5th grade immortal array. Given Tang Ao's current attainments in the array Dao, he was still unable to set up an array formation of this level. This array formation only had one purpose: to test. Tang Ao guessed that this array formation was probably testing whether the warrior who entered this space had grasped the darkness origin source. Only after grasping the darkness origin source and being able to use it could one leave this space. At this thought, Tang Ao sat down cross-legged. After coming into contact with the darkness origin source, Tang Ao indeed had a new understanding. Chapter 25:02. On the other side, the bear cub started playing with Huang Qir after eating the spirit beast elixir. The bear cub was already very naughty in the demonic beast egg. Now that it came out of the egg, it was still very playful. However, Tang Ao was still very surprised. After eating so many spirit beast elixirs, the bear cub's aura was still very weak. Tang Ao couldn't imagine how many treasures would be needed for this little guy to be full. After an hour, Tang Ao finished adjusting his breath. At this moment, Tang Ao's mind was calm and full of energy. Tang Ao also began to carefully feel the feeling of coming into contact with the darkness source. Under Tang Ao's calm state, Tang Ao's entire body was immersed in an ethereal state. At this moment, Tang Ao's 6 senses were abnormally sharp. Tang Ao's figure appeared in the sea of consciousness as though he was deducing the 7-killing sage path. Tang Ao struck out with his palm. This palm force wasn't the 1,000-hand seal, but just an ordinary palm. However, this palm contained the laws of darkness source. After striking out with this palm, Tang Ao immediately shook his head. Darkness source shouldn't be used like this. In Tang Ao's opinion, this palm containing darkness source was far inferior to his 1,000-hand seal. Moreover, the power of darkness source didn't seem to be used like this. After a moment, a dark ball of light condensed in Tang Ao's hand. This ball of light was completely compressed from darkness source. In the sea of consciousness, Tang Ao suddenly blasted out the dark ball of light. The dark ball of light exploded not far from Tang Ao. Countless traces of darkness source aura scattered. This darkness source aura could block soul remembrance. It seemed pretty good, but this wasn't how Tang Ao wanted to use it. Just like this, Tang Ao fell into a state of deduction and enlightenment. He didn't notice the passing of time in the outside world. Huang Qir also had some understanding of darkness source. She immediately immersed herself and began to carefully comprehend the power of darkness source. In the true martial domain, there weren't many places where one could directly come into contact with darkness source. As a disciple of Dao Seeking Academy, Huang Qir had never come into contact with darkness source before. The power of darkness source was everywhere in the world. However, without special talent, one wouldn't be able to sense the existence of darkness source. In Tang Ao's sea of consciousness, Tang Ao's figure actually sat down. In Tang Ao's eyes, a yin-yang diagram slowly rotated. Not far from Tang Ao, a black mist was also slowly changing. This time, Tang Ao was actually using his eyes to control darkness source. Under Tang Ao's control, the dark origin source quickly turned into a series of black chains. These chains were constantly changing in the void, appearing and disappearing from time to time. It was strange and unpredictable. The corners of Tang Ao's mouth curled up into a smile. The darkness origin force was not good at attacking, but it was good at restraining. This move will be called black prison chains. Tang Ao inwardly said. With a thought, the black prison chains transformed, turning into a cage. This cage was pitch black. If Tang Ao hadn't comprehended darkness source, even Tang Ao's sky extreme pupils wouldn't have been able to see through it. As for the naked eye and soul remembrance, they couldn't pass through this cage. If one didn't have a special secret technique, they could only rely on brute force to break through. Tang Ao made a rough estimation. With the current firmness of the black prison chains, even 7th or 8th layer astral reaching martial artists wouldn't be able to break through it in a short time. Just as Tang Ao was about to use the black prison chains to see if he could pass the test, a cracking sound suddenly came from within Tang Ao's body. Chapter 25:03. As the mysterious heaven's skill circulated, the rich, immortal spirit chi within the immortal crystals was extracted by Tang Ao and absorbed into his body bit by bit. At this moment, the scene of Tang Ao's cultivation was shocking. There were more than 20,000 mid-grade immortal crystals around him, and the immortal spirit chi within them was constantly being absorbed by Tang Ao and converging towards Tang Ao's body. The immortal spirit chi from all directions gushed over, forming a horrifying spiritual whirlpool above Tang Ao's head. Huang Qir, who was cultivating, also felt the fluctuations in the outside world. After sensing that it was Tang Ao cultivating, she did not think too much about it. Huang Qir trusted Tang Ao like an older brother. When she was by Tang Ao's side, she felt very safe. Huang Qir liked this feeling very much. Ever since she went to Dao Seeking Academy, she had not felt this feeling of being protected for a long time. The Chaos Beast was originally sleeping soundly out of boredom. Now, after sensing the extremely dense immortal spirit chi in the surroundings, the Chaos Beast's nose twitched and it immediately got up. Then, looking at the floor full of mid-grade immortal crystals, the Chaos Beast walked over, picked one up, and threw it into its mouth. Then it started chewing. This scene was shocking. Unfortunately, neither Tang Ao nor Huang Qir saw it. The two of them had never heard of any demonic beasts that could swallow immortal crystals. After eating one mid-grade immortal crystal, the Chaos Beast hesitated for a moment, but it still picked up the second immortal crystal. The reason for its hesitation was that the immortal crystals had no taste at all to the Chaos Beast. They were just food. However, the little guy was bored now, so it hesitated for a moment before continuing to swallow the immortal crystals. Boom! After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, most of the surrounding immortal crystals had been consumed by Tang Ao and the Chaos Beast. Tang Ao's cultivation had finally broken through to the astral reaching realm level 4 and stabilized. The astral reaching realm level 4 was already in the intermediate astral reaching realm. When Tang Ao was at the 3rd level of the astral reaching realm, he was able to fight against a 6th level astral reaching realm warrior with all of his tricks. Now that Tang Ao had reached the 4th level of the astral reaching realm, it would not be that hard for him to fight against the purple bone wolf again. Tang Ao's entire body was incomparably carefree. When his eyes opened and closed, 2 streaks of bright light shot straight into the stars and quickly disappeared. Tang Ao looked at the immortal crystals that had shrunk by half and felt helpless. Cultivating the 9 Dragons Emperor's jade body consumed too many resources. If Tang Ao was not a Grade 3 Immortal Weapon Master, a Grade 3 Immortal Alchemy Master, and a Grade 4 Immortal Array Master, Tang Ao estimated that he would not be able to afford to cultivate at all. It should be known that even a peak astral-reaching martial artist would not need to spend tens of thousands of mid-grade immortal crystals to cultivate. Normally, mid-grade immortal crystals were for yin-yang realm martial artists to use for cultivation. 10,000 mid-grade immortal crystals were equivalent to 100 million low-grade immortal crystals. This amount of immortal crystals was not something an ordinary martial artist could afford. Seeing that there were still about 10,000 mid-grade immortal crystals left, Tang Ao knew that he had to think of a way to get more immortal crystals. Otherwise, even his cultivation would be a problem in the near future. Cub, At this moment, Tang Ao saw a shocking scene. The black cub casually grabbed a mid-grade immortal crystal and started chewing on it. Chapter 2504. Amidst their shock, Tang Ao and Huang Qir were even more curious as to what kind of demonic beast this cub was. It was just that with their limited knowledge, they were unable to recognize a chaos beast that had disappeared since the ancient times. The cub didn't care about their gazes. It casually grabbed another immortal crystal and started munching on it. Tang Ao smiled bitterly. Then, he left over 100 immortal crystals and put them into a storage ring. Then, he put the storage ring on the little black bear's arm. Although a storage ring was called a storage ring, it wasn't an immutable object. Besides being able to store items, the storage ring also had the simplest ability to change size. At this moment, the storage ring on the cub's arm was like a bracelet. Although the cub looked a little stupid, Tang Ao didn't expect that Tang Ao would immediately know how to use the storage ring after just one demonstration. After tidying up, Tang Ao went to the hot spring. Looking at the pool of darkness source, Tang Ao felt that it was a pity. But very quickly, Tang Ao thought of a treasure. Back when he was bidding for the purple cloud's dew, Tang Ao had obtained a gourd. Besides the purple cloud's dew, the gourd also contained many precious spiritual liquids and immortal wines. With a thought, a palm-sized silver gourd appeared in Tang Ao's hand. Too many things had happened previously, so Tang Ao didn't even have time to refine it. This time, Tang Ao started refining the silver gourd. The silver gourd only had one layer of restriction. With Tang Ao's spiritual remembrance and array Dao attainments, Tang Ao quickly saw through the silver gourd's restriction. After refining the only restriction, Tang Ao was about to make his move. But at this moment, Tang Ao realized that things weren't so simple. Before Tang Ao had refined a single layer of restrictions, Tang Ao could only sense that this silver gourd had a layer of restrictions. But now that Tang Ao had refined a layer of restrictions, he immediately discovered that the silver gourd had a very hidden layer of restrictions. However, this restriction had nothing to do with the use of the silver gourd. It was as if someone had deliberately hidden something in the silver gourd. Immediately, Tang Ao's soul remembrance continued to probe this layer of restriction. This layer of restriction was extremely concealed. If it wasn't for Tang Ao's powerful soul remembrance and his proficiency in arrays, Tang Ao wouldn't have been able to discover this restriction. The previous owner of the silver gourd didn't even know that there was a restriction on the silver gourd that could be refined, much less a hidden restriction. Therefore, Tang Ao deduced that if there really was something hidden in the silver gourd, it must still be there. Soon, after Tang Ao refined the restriction, he immediately saw the 3 items hidden in the formation. With a thought, Tang Ao took out these 3 items. When he saw the first item, Tang Ao's eyes widened because it was a seed. Tang Ao naturally knew what this seed was. It was the seed of the sword refinement fruit. Unfortunately, due to improper preservation, the seed had completely withered. The second item was a token. There were no words on either side of this token. There was only a gourd drawn on it. This gourd was very similar to the silver gourd in Tang Ao's hand, but he didn't know what it was used for. As for the third item, it was a jade slip. Tang Ao scanned the jade slip with his soul remembrance and immediately understood why there was purple cloud dew in this gourd. It turned out that the original owner of this gourd also wanted to cultivate a sword refinement fruit, and even found purple cloud dew. This jade slip recorded 2 places. One of these 2 places was in Langya Realm, while the other was in the desolate Martial Realm. Somewhere in Langya Realm, there were records of the existence of the Emperor Beastbone, while the desolate Martial Realm had the 5 elements soil. Tang Ao already had the innate essence stone, chaotic essence energy, and violet firmament sweet due to nurture the sword refining fruit. As long as he obtained the 5 elemental soil and the monarch beastbone powder, Tang Ao would be able to nurture the sword refining fruit immediately. Tang Ao wasn't in a hurry to obtain the Emperor Beastbone powder. After this matter, Tang Ao would definitely return to the Langya boundary. In that case, he had to obtain the 5 elemental soil before leaving the Langya boundary. Tang Ao immediately began to check the location of the 5 element soil. Tang Ao immediately discovered that the 5 element soil was in a place called the 5 elements wasteland. Tang Ao had a map of the desolate martial realm, so Tang Ao knew that the 5 elements wasteland was next to the Gale Desert. This made Tang Ao a little difficult because the scope of their trial was only in the Gale Desert area. With Tang Ao's strength, even if he encountered anything in the desolate martial realm, he would be able to protect himself. However, Tang Ao was still a little hesitant to leave the Gale Desert. After thinking for a moment, Tang Ao decided to go and have a look. With Tang Ao's current strength, this was likely to be the closest to the 5 element soil. If he missed this opportunity, Tang Ao did not know when he would get news of the 5 element soil again. Thinking of this, Tang Ao gave Huang Qir a brief explanation. Huang Qir didn't care about the Gale Desert at all. It was as if she was by Tang Ao's side. She was safe. Chapter 25:05. Taking a deep breath, Tang Ao took out the gourd of Mount Kun. The gourd of Mount Kun was the name of this silver gourd. After Tang Ao refined the silver gourd, he learned its name and how to use it. After Tang Ao recited the incantation, the gourd of Mount Kun erupted with a terrifying suction force. Immediately, the inky black water in the pool was absorbed by the gourd of Mount Kun like smoke. A moment later, the origin of darkness in the pool was completely absorbed by the gourd of Mount Kun. Tang Ao looked at the gourd of Mount Kun with satisfaction. The value of the origin of darkness was immeasurable. If it weren't for the gourd of Mount Kun, Tang Ao would only be able to take away a little. Tang Ao looked around and thought it was a pity. Since there was origin of darkness essence here, there must be corresponding origin of darkness essence in other spaces. It was just that with Tang Ao's current strength, he couldn't enter other spaces at all. Therefore, Tang Ao could only sigh in his heart. Then, Tang Ao's skypolarity eyes instantly opened. 9 black chains intertwined, completely activating the array above the hot spring. After sensing the spell that Tang Ao deduced using the origin of darkness, the array was immediately activated. Halos of light flowed, and then a shining portal appeared in front of Tang Ao and Huang Qir. Tang Ao didn't hesitate and stepped into the portal with Huang Qir. As soon as they entered the portal, Tang Ao came to a simple and magnificent hall. There were 36 statues around this hall. These statues were heroic and extraordinary. They were obviously powerhouses from ancient times. In the center of the hall, Tang Ao saw a stone platform. At this moment, there were 9 ceiling pillars around the stone platform. In the center of the ceiling pillars, there was a terrifying existence. This was a monster covered in scales, with 2 huge bone spurs on its back. Under the spurs was a pair of demonic wings, and on its head was a pair of curved horns. When Tang Ao and Huang Qir arrived, the monster's eyes suddenly opened. It stared at Tang Ao and Huang Qir in disbelief. When it saw the bear cub on Huang Qir's shoulder, Cain was overjoyed. The demon's sealing tombstone had restricted 99% of its power. In addition to the level 9 sealing pillar seal, Cain's power was extremely weak. However, now that he saw the Chaos Beast, Cain was overjoyed. Without any hesitation, a black tentacle turned into a sharp claw and clawed at the Chaos Beast. When Tang Ao saw that Cain was attacking the Chaos Beast, he was enraged. His 1,000-hand seal immediately struck out. It was just that the 1,000-hand Madra that Tang Ao had used to destroy everything in the past was now shattered by Cain's black tentacles with just a touch. Huang Qir summoned the Ice Phoenix. Before the Ice Phoenix could make a move, it was smashed by Cain. Although it instantly solidified, its aura was much weaker than before. All of this sounded complicated, but it actually happened in a split second. In that split second, Cain's sharp claws did not have any resistance. They directly pierced through the Chaos Beast's body. Immediately, Tang Ao and Huang Qir saw that the chaos beast's body, which had been slightly plump from eating so much, was now becoming thinner at a speed visible to the naked eye. "You have a death wish." Without any hesitation, Tang Ao took out the primordial sacred heaven bow and shot out 3 arrows. Tang Ao's 3 arrows all hit Cain's body. However, apart from creating a series of sparks on Cain's body, Cain was actually unharmed. Chapter 25:06. At this time, the essence of the beast of chaos was sucked out by Cain. The tentacle that Cain used to pierce through the beast of chaos became transparent. A pitch-black original essence was extracted from the beast of chaos and flowed into Cain's body. "Senior, please wait. We can talk." Seeing that the primordial sacred heaven bow could not hurt Cain, Tang Ao was prepared to save the beast of chaos and escape. In Cain's invisibility, Tang Ao felt an aura that surpassed the Tao Master Realm. Tang Ao had seen the great dream Tao lore before, so Tang Ao was sure that Cain's invisibility had an aura that surpassed the Tao Master Realm. Above the Tao Master Realm was the legendary God King Realm. However, although Cain's aura was stronger than that of a Tao Master, there was a limit to it. Therefore, Tang Ao judged that Cain's cultivation at his peak should be at the Demigod Realm, which was above the Tao Master but below the Divine King. Thinking that they were facing such a terrifying existence, Tang Ao knew that with his and Huang Qir's current strength, they could not fight against Cain. They could only leave quickly. But at this time, Tang Ao suddenly saw a terrifying aura explode from the beast of chaos. This aura was ancient, as if it came from ancient times. Under this aura, the tentacle that Cain used to pierce into the beast of chaos's stomach melted instantly. Then, the beast of chaos grabbed this illusory tentacle and withdrew all its original strength. Then, without hesitation, the beast of chaos sucked in. 10% of Cain's original strength was sucked out. Cain was already very weak after being sealed by the demon sealing tablet. Now that it had lost 10% of its original strength, Cain could not stand and fell to the ground. Then, Cain looked at the beast of chaos in horror. Cain was sure that this beast of chaos had just been born. But Cain did not expect that this legendary overlord divine beast would be so terrifying. It had just been born, but it could already extract the original strength of a demigod. Cain knew that the beast of chaos could extract its original strength, because when it wanted to extract the original strength of the beast of chaos, it had established an origin link with the beast of chaos. But even so, Cain was still shocked. "Little Black Bear, good job." Seeing that the chaos beast had actually extracted Cain's origin energy in such a way, Huang Qir immediately clapped her hands and cheered. Tang Ao had also seen that after the beast of chaos had extracted 10% of Cain's essence, the beast of chaos, which had been malnourished no matter how much it was fed, had actually become a fatty with just one bite. The chaos beast patted its bulging tummy in satisfaction as it looked at Cain with an unfriendly gaze. Looking at the chaos beast's gaze, Cain was not afraid at all. "Scram, I can't do anything to you, and you can forget about hurting me." As he had lost 10% of his origin energy, Cain was a little weak. Even so, Cain's aura was not weak at all. If Cain was willing, Tang Ao and Huang Qir would never be able to leave. It was just that there was no point in Cain killing off Tang Ao and Huang Qir. Moreover, if this chaos beast were to go berserk, Cain might even lose some of his origin energy source if he fought with all his might. This price was not something that Cain could afford right now. Chapter 25:07. Let me try. Hearing Tang Ao's words, Huang Qir was tempted too. Although Cain was a little ugly, it was very powerful. It would be good to summon it to fight in the future. Thinking of this, Huang Qir pointed between her eyebrows and a drop of crystal red blood flew out. Huang Qir struck with her palm and a formation appeared. After Huang Qir's blood and the formation fused, a sacred scroll slowly appeared. The scroll moved without any wind and quickly flipped through. The scroll was divided into 9 parts, and soon it reached the 9th part. When it reached a certain page, the scroll suddenly stopped. Huang Qir looked over and immediately exclaimed, "Senior Brother Tang Ao, it's one of the 10 great blood demons, Cain." Blood demon Cain. Tang Ao's eyebrows twitched. Tang Ao had never expected that such a terrifying existence would be sealed in this steel. Who was the owner of this steel? Blood Sacrifice Codex, huh? Great, great. Quick, sign the contract with me. Cain was overjoyed when he saw the sacred scroll in Huang Qir's hand. Cain did not expect that there would be someone who had mastered the Blood Sacrifice Codex in this random group of people. The Blood Sacrifice Codex was a contract between human experts and all foreign races. As long as the contract was signed, human warriors could use a spatial formation to summon foreign races from anywhere. Hearing Cain's words, Tang Ao and Huang Qir looked at each other. Originally, Tang Ao and Huang Qir thought that Cain would resist with all its might. But now, they did not expect Cain to ask Huang Qir to sign the contract. Junior Sister Qir, as long as the contract is signed, can you control it? Tang Ao asked uncertainly. After all, no matter how weak Cain was, it was still a demigod expert. What was a demigod? It was a powerful half-step divine king. No. Huang Qir shook her head. The difference in strength between us is too big. I can't control it completely. After the contract is signed, it can't hurt us anymore. All right, then sign the contract with it. Although Tang Ao knew that Cain must have a motive for wanting to establish a contract with Huang Qir so urgently. But no matter what Cain's purpose was, as long as Cain couldn't hurt the two of them and Huang Qir could control Cain to a certain extent, then Cain would be a powerful help to Huang Qir in the future. Before, the most powerful beast that Huang Qir could control was only at peak astral reaching realm level 9. But after signing the contract with Cain, Huang Qir could immediately control a demigod level warrior. Hearing Tang Ao's words, Huang Qir did not hesitate and directly imprinted an array formation in front of Cain. Looking at the flickering formation in front of him, Cain forced out a drop of origin blood essence that was as black as ink rather painfully. But before Cain's origin blood essence could land on the formation, the little black bear suddenly opened its mouth and sucked. Cain's origin blood essence was immediately absorbed by the little black bear. The black cub burped contentedly after swallowing Cain's essence blood that contained boundless energy. Chapter 25:08. After forcing out another drop of essence blood, Cain did not give the chaos beast a chance. He immediately slammed his palm down, and an imprint appeared on Cain's soul. Huang Qir and Cain had also established a special connection. At this moment, Cain's gaze towards Huang Qir was no longer as fierce as before. Although her tone was still cold, Cain still said in detail, "Your cultivation is too weak now. Even if you summon me outside, I can only exist for 10 breaths of time. In addition, you are now at the 3rd stage of the astral reaching realm. Every time you summon me, prepare 300 raw stones. As your cultivation increases, the raw stones will increase accordingly. Darkness raw stones are the best, but other raw stones are fine too. Now, I will send you out." Seeing the beast looking at her with shining eyes, Cain felt a little guilty. Cain was worried that this little bastard would use some secret technique, and he would be completely screwed today. Then, Tang Ao and Huang Qir saw Cain raise his giant paw and slap the ground. Immediately, the figures of Tang Ao, Huang Qir, and the beast faded away. The beast looked at Cain and stuck out its tongue provocatively. "Get lost." Shortly after, when Tang Ao and Huang Qir were about to leave, they could still hear Cain's furious but helpless roar. When they appeared in the Gale Desert again, Tang Ao threw out a formation flag. Tang Ao, Huang Qir, and the beast appeared in the formation that Tang Ao had set up before. At this moment, it was a mess. There were many human warriors here, as well as many blood race and blood slaves. Tang Ao even saw a few extremely rare blood beasts. However, these were all ferocious blood beasts, not docile spiritual blood beasts. After returning to his own formation, Tang Ao knew that he had earned big this time. Not only had he hatched the black bear cub from the beast egg, but he had also mastered the darkness origin technique and obtained a pool of darkness origin essence. Of course, the one who had gained the most was Huang Qir, who had signed a contract with a legendary powerhouse like Cain. Although Huang Qir's cultivation was too low now, even if she summoned Cain, Cain could not use the power of a demigod. However, a demigod-level expert who was invisible was definitely in existence that could crush everything in the desolate martial realm. Tang Ao could tell that the purpose of the battle between the warriors and the Blood Clan was to enter the space within the stone tablet. As Tang Ao had just come out of the stone tablet space, he naturally knew what was inside the stone tablet. Tang Ao had no intention of participating in this kind of battle, so Tang Ao took Huang Qir with him. Now, Tang Ao wanted to go to the Five Elements Wasteland. Tang Ao wanted to go to the Five Elements Wasteland to search for the Five Elements soil. As long as he obtained the Five Elements soil in the Five Elements Wasteland and returned to the Langya boundary to find the Emperor Beastbone, Tang Ao would be able to cultivate the sword-refining fruit. After walking a little further, Huang Qir summoned the Flaming Pegasus. In the Gale Desert, the Flaming Pegasus was even faster than Tang Ao's Wind Thunder Dark Cloud. Because the Flaming Pegasus was proficient in spatial energy, it was not afraid of the spatial blades when it ran in the air. However, Tang Ao did not dare to use the Wind Thunder Dark Cloud to fly at full speed. If he was not careful and bumped into a spatial blade, even if Tang Ao had cultivated the Great Desolate Immortal Body to the Yuan body level, he would still die. Of course, if Tang Ao could cultivate the Great Desolate Immortal Body to the 5th level, which was the Great Desolate Immortal Body level, then even if Tang Ao bumped into the spatial blade, he would only shatter it. Chapter 2509. While Tang Ao and Huang Qir were rushing towards the Five Elements Wasteland, a cry for help suddenly came from below. "Senior from Heavenly Horse City, please help us." Along the way, Tang Ao and Huang Qir would occasionally attack and kill blood slaves, but that was only because the blood slaves happened to be in the way. However, Tang Ao and Huang Qir had yet to encounter anyone asking for help. Now that someone was asking for help, Tang Ao and Huang Qir descended. Tang Ao scanned the area with his soul remembrance and was immediately shocked by the blood slaves that appeared. He didn't know what was going on in this place, but the number of blood slaves that appeared far exceeded Tang Ao's imagination. Similarly, this was also a small city. There were many warriors and ordinary people guarding the city at the moment. Tang Ao saw that the materials used to build the city were ordinary stones. However, it was obvious that there was a very powerful array master in the city. At this moment, there was a defense array above the entire city. Moreover, there were also grade 3 arrays flickering on the surrounding city walls. It was also because of this that the city was able to defend against the concentrated attacks of the blood slaves. The person who called for Tang Ao and Huang Qir was a youth carrying a large axe on his back. During this period of time, every time he saw an expert fly over, he would call for them. However, up until now, only Tang Ao and Huang Qir had stopped. "Brother Wei Hu, you actually called for someone to come down." Beside the youth, a young girl said. This youth called Wei, who was also very surprised. Clearly, he didn't expect that a martial artist would actually come to help them. "Why are there so many blood slaves here?" Tang Ao ignored Wei Hu's surprise and asked. Wei Hu was currently looking at Huang Qir in a daze. Wei Hu wasn't much older than Huang Qir, so when he saw the pink and tender Huang Qir, he immediately liked her. However, Huang Qir was currently curiously looking around. This was because Huang Qir discovered that the martial artists here were also adept at controlling demonic beasts. Currently, there were many martial artists controlling demonic beasts to fight against the blood slaves. Because the surrounding villages and cities have all fallen, a large number of martial artists are fleeing towards us, attracting even more blood slaves here. Because Sister Ling Shuiyao is a grade 3 immortal array master, the City of Beasts is fine because the entire city has been reinforced with arrays. However, there's simply too many blood slaves here. We want to ask for help, but no one is willing to help us. Although Wei Hu was young, he knew the current situation of the City of Beasts very well. After listening to Wei Hu's words, Tang Ao nodded. Wei Hu was right. Even now, Tang Ao could still see many martial artists fleeing in all directions, plunging into the light screen of the City of Beasts' array formation. The light screen of the City of Beasts' array formation could stop the Blood Clan, the Blood Slaves, and even the Blood Demons. However, it wouldn't stop human martial artists. Tang Ao saw a woman in a green dress walking among the crowd at the top of the City of Beasts. From time to time, she would throw out the array flags in her hands to repair the defense array of the City of Beasts. However, in the City of Beasts, she seemed to be the only one who could repair the defense array. At this moment, this beautiful woman's face was as pale as a sheet of paper. She was also staggering as she walked. It was obvious that she had overexerted her soul force. Although they were far apart, Tang Ao could still see that this woman's appearance wasn't inferior to Shen Yunwei's. She was obviously a femme fatale. Chapter 25:10. In this martial artist's opinion, it was only a matter of time before the City of Beasts failed. The strongest martial artist here was only at the 9th level of astral reaching realm. Once the City of Beasts failed, no one would be able to escape. In that case, he might as well enjoy himself with this beauty he had been drooling over for a long time. Presumptuous. When the martial artist from the City of Beasts saw someone disrespecting Ling Shuiyao at this moment, he was immediately enraged and threw out a punch. Unfortunately, this martial artist was only at the 5th level of astral reaching realm. Compared to the 7th level leprosy, there were still 2 levels of difference. Therefore, without any surprise, this 5th level astral reaching realm martial artist's fist had not even landed on leprosy's body before his head was smashed into pieces. Overestimating yourself. Leprosy snorted coldly before reaching out to grab Ling Shuiyao. However, this time, leprosy grabbed thin air. Ling Shuiyao felt her body lighten as she was hugged by someone. After landing, Ling Shuiyao saw that the person hugging her was a handsome young man with a playful smile on his face. Tang Ao was indeed looking at leprosy with a smile on his face. Tang Ao hated people like leprosy the most. Tang Ao was not a bloodthirsty person, but Tang Ao would definitely kill anyone he met. Bastard, you're looking for death. Seeing that Tang Ao had ruined his plan, leprosy was enraged. A blood-drinking long blade instantly appeared in his hand. Senior brother, be careful. Because of her weak body, Ling Shuyao's voice was also very soft. However, Tang Ao still heard it. Right then, Tang Ao faintly smiled at Ling Shuyao, telling her that he was fine. However, Tang Ao's expression looked like he was looking for death in the eyes of the people around. Everyone could tell that Tang Ao was only at the 4th astral reaching realm, while Ma Feng was the top warrior of the Black Mountain City, a peak level 7th astral reaching realm warrior. Right now, there were people with higher chi realms than Leprosy Wind in the City of Beasts, but those who dared to say that they could definitely kill Leprosy Wind were not. Moreover, they were not willing to meddle in other people's business. Once the City of Beasts failed, they might be able to fight their way out of this place with the help of a few people with high cultivation bases. That was why no one would offend Leprosy Alliance for a woman they had never met before, even though quite a number of them coveted Ling Shuiyao. Since Leprosy had taken the initiative, they could only suppress their thoughts. At this moment, in everyone's eyes, Tang Ao was already a dead man. Brother, let me help you. Right then, a level 4 astral reaching realm warrior took a step forward, standing right next to Tang Ao. The City of Beasts did not have very powerful martial artists. The most powerful ones were only at the 6th astral reaching realm. However, seeing this kind of situation, These people did not have any thoughts of stepping forward. Brother Li Hong, count me, Wang Ke. At this moment, another martial artist with 2 axes also arrived next to Tang Ao. The 3 stood together, looking at Leprosy. Leprosy looked at Tang Ao and the other 2 and laughed. Who else is not afraid of death? Come out together and don't waste time. Leprosy did not put Tang Ao and the other 2 in his eyes at all. Seeing Leprosy's roar, Li Hong was immediately enraged. The silver spear in his hand instantly pierced toward Leprosy. Although Li Hong was only at the 5th astral reaching realm, he had killed a 6th astral reaching realm warrior before, so his strength was not ordinary. However, looking at the long spear in Li Hong's hand, a hint of disdain flashed through Leprosy's face. Chapter 25:11. Wang Ke and Li Hong were both at the 5th layer of astral reaching realm, but the 2 of them couldn't even withstand a single blow from Leprosy. The difference in power was like a chasm. After heavily wounding Wang Ke and Li Hong, Leprosy looked at Tang Ao and sneered. What? Scared out of your wits? Not daring to make a move? Leprosy looked at Tang Ao with a mocking smile. He didn't plan to let Tang Ao go so easily. Without Tang Ao standing out, this wouldn't have happened. As long as he had taken Ling Shuiao by surprise, even if someone saw it, they wouldn't dare to say anything. Now, everyone knew that if he died in the hands of the blood slaves, it wouldn't matter. But if he managed to escape, how would he face the world in the future? Everyone saw that after Wang Ke and Li Hong made a move, Tang Ao didn't dare to make a move, which made them feel disdain. If even Tang Ao didn't dare to make a move with help, then if Tang Ao had to face Leprosy alone, he would only be able to beg for mercy. If you kneel down and kowed out to me 3 times and shout, "Mercy, Grandpa," 3 times, I'll consider giving you a quick death. Leprosy looked at Tang Ao and said with an ice-cold expression, "Senior brother, this has nothing to do with you. You should run." Ling Shuiao didn't look down on Tang Ao. She only felt gratitude towards Tang Ao. Although she couldn't escape her fate in the end, Tang Ao had at least helped her. Ling Shuiao was extremely grateful to everyone who helped her. Unfortunately, even if you kneel down and kowed out to me 3 times and shout, "Mercy, Grandpa," 3 times, I won't let you die a quick death. Hearing Leprosy's words, Tang Ao's expression didn't change at all as he said indifferently, "You're courting death." Leprosy was immediately enraged. The blood drinker blade in his hand slashed down as if he wanted to cut Tang Ao in half. No one doubted whether Leprosy could cut Tang Ao in half. Everyone was certain that once the slash landed, Tang Ao would definitely die. At this time, Tang Ao's body suddenly moved. In just an instant, there was a ding, followed by a thud. Then, Tang Ao and Leprosy Wind stopped moving. The scene before them caused quite a number of people to find it a little difficult to breathe. No one knew what had happened just now. But at that moment, Leprosy's blood drinker was already broken, and the center of her brows had been pierced by Tang Ao's finger. Under the life extermination finger, Leprosy Wind Soul was destroyed. This kind of death would not even have the chance to reincarnate. What just happened? A lot of people looked at each other. Even though it had happened right in front of their eyes, they still couldn't believe that Tang Ao, who was at the 4th layer of astral reaching realm, could kill Leprosy in one strike. Could this person be hiding his cultivation? A 9th layer astral reaching realm martial artist said. However, after carefully observing for a long time, he discovered that the immortal spiritual power ripples on Tang Ao's body were that of a 4th layer astral reaching realm martial artist. There's always someone better out there. Leprosy relied on some tricks of his own to act unscrupulously in the City of Beasts. Today, he finally fell. As everyone discussed, Tang Ao waved his sleeve, and Leprosy's corpse fell directly into the crowd of blood slaves outside the city. Instantly, countless blood slaves pounced on it, tearing it apart. Tang Ao didn't lie to Leprosy. He indeed wouldn't die comfortably. Even if his soul was destroyed, his corpse would be eaten by countless blood slaves, and not even ashes would be left behind. Shuiao thanks senior brother for saving me. At this moment, Ling Shuyao's beautiful eyes were also filled with astonishment as she looked at Tang Ao. Originally, Ling Shuyao thought that she wouldn't be able to escape this calamity. However, Ling Shuyao didn't expect that Tang Ao, a martial artist of unknown origin, would actually have the strength to kill leprosy in one strike. Blood Race geniuses Purple Bone Wolf and Shao Tsang. Ling Shuyao had seen them from afar. Golden Sand City's genius He Xiaohua. Ling Shuyao had also seen him several times. However, in Ling Shuyao's eyes, these people seemed to be a bit lacking compared to Tang Ao. This kind of trash, I'll kill everyone I see. If something like this happens again in the city, I won't be lenient. Since he had decided to help the city of beasts, Tang Ao would naturally be a good person to the end. Also, Tang Ao did need some points. The countless blood slaves around the city of beasts, the blood race, and even a small number of blood demons were Tang Ao's points. Right now, Tang Ao had killed leprosy with lightning speed and gained the support of many martial artists in the city of beasts. With Tang Ao's strength, the martial artists from other cities naturally wouldn't say anything about it. Just now, many people had disliked leprosy's actions. However, due to various reasons, there weren't many martial artists who dared to step forward. Chapter 25:12. Tang Ao's voice reverberated in all directions. After hearing Tang Ao's words, everyone had different expressions. In fact, before Tang Ao, someone had already said that everyone should take out immortal materials to refine array flags to strengthen the defenses of the city of beasts. However, most people scoffed at this matter. The number of blood slaves kept increasing, and the experts of the Blood Clan were also arriving one after another. There were even many blood demons hiding in the dark. It was foreseeable that the fall of the city of beasts was only a matter of time. Everyone's cultivation resources were fought for by themselves. It was clearly impossible for everyone to take them out just because of Tang Ao's words. Moreover, even if they took them out, how much would each of them take out? However, not everyone thought this way. At the very least, the martial artists of the city of beasts were not willing to let the city of beasts fall. Even if there was still a sliver of hope, they still hoped to defend the city of beasts. Just now, Tang Ao had also said that as long as they could hold on for another 31 days, the Blood Clan's blood source array would weaken. After 31 days, the pressure on the city of beasts would continue to decrease. Therefore, many martial artists of the city of beasts immediately lined up in front of Tang Ao. Previously, under Ling Shuyao's call, these martial artists of the city of beasts had taken out many immortal materials to strengthen the city's defenses. At this time, after seeing Tang Ao's strength, everyone was naturally willing. In the current city of beasts, leprosy's strength could at least be ranked in the top 10. However, even so, leprosy was still killed by Tang Ao in one strike. After the martial artists of the city of beasts lined up, a portion of the martial artists from the surrounding cities also joined the queue. These people's cultivation levels were very low. They were only at the life and death realm. Once the city of beasts was breached, these people would definitely not be able to escape this place. Therefore, although immortal materials were good, if they lost their lives, what was the use of treasures? As a result, more and more low-level martial artists joined the queue, and the long queue instantly became 5. Seeing this, Tang Ao had a thought and immediately said, "Everyone, please wait here for 2 hours." After Tang Ao said that, he immediately went to the central square of the city of beasts. Everyone naturally saw Tang Ao going to the central square, but no one knew what Tang Ao was going to do there. The central square of the city of beasts was a flat ground paved with green rocks. These green rocks were not ordinary green rocks, but black green rocks unique to the desolate martial realm. The toughness of this black bluestone was comparable to ordinary grade 5 immortal materials. However, this black bluestone didn't have any affinity with immortal spiritual energy, so it wasn't normally used for smithing. In the center of the square, there was a broken statue of a demonic beast. Tang Ao originally wanted to remove this statue, but after seeing the incense offerings for this demonic beast statue, Tang Ao chose another empty space. Then, Tang Ao took out dozens of sky steel rocks from his storage ring. Tang Ao activated the spiritual energy in his body, and a netherworld fire swept out, enveloping all the sky steel rocks. Then, under everyone's shocked gazes, Tang Ao directly started smithing. Although they already knew that Tang Ao's strength was not ordinary, after seeing Tang Ao's smithing technique, they then realized that they had still underestimated Tang Ao. Chapter 25:13. Usually, when refining such a large artifact, it would be divided into several parts and finally fused into one place. Alternatively, it could be the work of multiple artifact forgers. At that very moment, however, Tang Ao had single-handedly forged out this 100 zhang tall stone steel. As the last inscription array fell, this 300-meter tall square-shaped stone tablet was refined by Tang Ao. Rumble! A loud rumbling sound rang out, and the square-shaped stone monument stood firmly in the middle of the 100 Beast City's central square. The stone tablet had a total of 4 sides. The first side had the contribution ranking. Everyone scanned it with their soul remembrance and found that there was a simple introduction on the contribution ranking. The so-called contribution ranking was the immortal materials contributed by various martial artists to the City of Beasts during the life and death crisis of the City of Beasts. Adjacent to the contribution ranking was the Blood Servant ranking. This Blood Servant ranking was the number of blood servants killed. However, at this moment, everyone didn't know how the number of blood servants killed was calculated. Other than the contribution ranking and blood servant ranking, there was also the blood species ranking and blood demon ranking. However, apart from the first contribution ranking, everyone wasn't sure how the other 3 rankings were calculated. However, soon, everyone saw that Tang Ao had started to refine an artifact. This time, Tang Ao directly took out 50 crafting furnaces and surrounded them. Looking at these crafting furnaces around Tang Ao, everyone secretly sighed at Tang Ao's wealth. However, most people knew that Tang Ao dared to take out so many crafting furnaces because he wasn't afraid of people robbing him. Moreover, most people could also see that although there were many crafting furnaces, the quality wasn't very high. Soon, as the various materials in Tang Ao's hands were thrown into the crafting furnaces, after a round of refining, tokens with the 3 words City of Beasts also flew out of the crafting furnaces. Tang Ao swept out with his soul remembrance and stored these tens of thousands of tokens into his storage ring. Then, Tang Ao returned to the front of the martial artists. Tang Ao didn't speak immediately. Instead, he threw out several array flags and set up 2 arrays. In one of the array formations, Tang Ao placed all the tokens that he had just refined into it. Then, Tang Ao said, "Everyone, go to the first array formation to receive an identity token. The array formation will record your identity information on the token. Place the immortal materials and treasures you want to donate in the second formation. The token will record your contribution. Your contributions will also appear on the contribution steel." When Tang Ao's words came out, everyone's expression changed again. At this moment, many people who didn't want to donate immortal materials consciously followed behind the group. If Tang Ao really lost the City of Beasts, it would be fine. But if the City of Beasts was defended this time, they would be utterly humiliated in the future. There were also some cultivators who wanted to deal with the matter with just a few materials. However, they gave up on this idea at this moment. After all, the 300-meter-tall stone tablet recorded everyone's contributions to the City of Beasts. There was a special array formation on the stone tablet. Even though everyone was so far away, as long as they raised their heads, the information on the stone tablet could still be seen clearly. At this moment, the first cultivator in the line stepped forward and received an identity token. After saying his fate's soul and releasing a trace of soul remembrance to confirm, the array formation immediately recorded it. Immediately, this cultivator took out a pile of black stones from his storage ring and threw them into the second array formation. This array formation was actually a storage array formation. This array formation didn't isolate soul remembrance, so everyone could clearly see how many things were in the array formation. Chapter 25:14. After Wang Liangyi left, the second cultivator came forward and quickly collected his identity token. Then he took out a fist-sized transparent crystal and placed it in the second array formation. Tang Ao's heart skipped a beat when he saw this crystal. However, Tang Ao was only surprised. He had no intention of keeping it for himself. This transparent crystal was called a starry sky crystal. It was a top-notch material used to refine storage immortal artifacts. Starry sky crystals didn't have a specific grade. However, the more transparent it was, the better its grade. The modeled starry sky crystal that this cultivator took out was clearly of the lowest quality. Even so, the value of this starry sky crystal far exceeded Wang Liangyi's Yuan meteor stone. After the first two cultivators took the lead, the cultivators behind them immediately sped up. Some martial artists only took out one kind of material, while some martial artists cleaned up their storage rings, putting all kinds of miscellaneous materials into the array. Fortunately, the array formation that Tang Ao had set up was a grade 4 immortal array. Naturally, there wouldn't be any mistakes. Coincidentally, the cultivator in first place happened to be such a cultivator. After this cultivator collected all the immortal materials that he thought were treasures from his storage ring, he threw the rest of the immortal materials into the array formation. However, no one had expected that among the pile of materials, an inconspicuous golden stone the size of a fingernail was actually Tai immortal metal. If it weren't for the fact that this piece of Tai immortal metal was too small, only the size of a fingernail, there would have been many cultivators fighting over it. Grand immortal metal could be used to condense a second primordial spirit. However, it required a lot of it. At the very least, it needed a piece the size of a baby's fist. Although this piece of grand immortal metal was precious, it was too small. Although its value was high, it wasn't very useful. At least, it wouldn't be useful in the eyes of ordinary people. However, if Tang Ao could obtain this piece of grand immortal metal, Tang Ao would be able to refine an immortal needle-type immortal artifact. However, Tang Ao had no intention of taking this piece of Tai immortal metal. Although there was no fist-sized Tai immortal metal in Tang Ao's storage ring, Tang Ao still had a few pieces of this size. After all, Tang Ao had obtained Great Dream Tao Venerate's treasure. Among martial artists of the same realm, there were very few who were richer than Tang Ao. There were only 3,000 spots in the contribution ranking. Soon, the 3,000 spots were filled. If one wanted to enter the ranking again, they would have to take out a treasure that was even more precious than the one on the ranking. However, at this time, there were many martial artists who wanted to be on the list. Some warriors who didn't have particularly good materials on hand, or who had good materials but couldn't bear to take them out, turned their attention to the other three lists. In the eyes of everyone present, the horde of blood slaves outside of the spell formation didn't seem so terrifying. After all, the blood slaves, kindred, and even blood demons were the cornerstones of everyone's glory. The sky stone steel that Tang Ao had refined was supported by the spell formation and guaranteed to last for at least 100,000 years. When the names on the spell formation were scanned with soul remembrance, the image of the martial artist would appear. This kind of glory moved countless martial artists. Fame and fortune came first, followed by fortune. Under such circumstances, even the most rational martial artists couldn't help but be impulsive. Chapter 25:15. At this moment, Tang Ao's expression changed as he said, "To be honest, I am Tang Ao of the Immortal Ruin Chamber of Commerce's Hidden Dragon list. You might not have heard of me, but it doesn't matter. As you can see, I am a rank 3 Immortal Array Master, a rank 3 Alchemist, and a Blacksmith. Therefore, during this battle with the Blood Race, Astral Reaching Realm warriors can come to me for a Purple Heart Pellet every day and life and death realm warriors can come to me for a yuan restoring pellet. Of course, the top 10 warriors of the 4 lists can come to me for a pellet or an immortal weapon every day. As soon as Tang Ao said this, everyone couldn't wait to rush out and kill their way out. At this moment, it was not blood slaves, but glory, riches, top-grade healing pellets, and immortal weapons. Many warriors were already screaming in their hearts. This moment was too torturous for them, and they wanted to fight with the blood race. The blood race offending our city of beasts is their biggest mistake. Now, brothers and sisters of the city of beasts, let's fight. Tang Ao's words resounded like thunder. The moment Tang Ao said fight, many cultivators roared to the sky and immediately charged forward to kill their way through the battle. The blood race warriors outside the defensive array were thinking about how to break through the city of beasts' defensive array and enter the city of beasts to hunt. Suddenly, the warriors of the city of beasts rushed out as if they had been injected with chicken blood. This sudden scene stunned the blood race warriors, and they were immediately caught unprepared by the warriors of the city of beasts. They had besieged the city of beasts for so many days, and the city of beasts had always been on the defensive. When had they ever launched a large-scale attack like this? Under the attack of so many warriors, the blood slaves fell in droves, and many blood race warriors died as well. At this moment, the warriors of the city of beasts felt extremely carefree. These days, they had been surrounded by the blood slaves, and they had been constantly nervous and afraid. Now that they had rushed out, all the depression in their hearts had been swept away. Just at this moment, a green figure appeared in the air. All the cultivators with the city of beasts' jade pendant were surrounded by a green light. As the green light surrounded them, they felt their injuries quickly recover. The celestial spiritual force in their bodies circulated more smoothly, and their senses became sharper. Under such circumstances, the blood slaves and blood race martial artists were being pushed back again and again. Even the blood beasts were killed by a 9th-level astral-reaching realm martial artist. After this astral-reaching realm martial artist had killed a blood beast, it had immediately caused a lot of blood race martial artists and blood slaves to go crazy. But even so, the two sides were only evenly matched. In the city of beasts, there were close to 100,000 martial artists. There were 4 lists, and each list only had 3,000 slots. Besides, there were very few blood demons. It was obvious that there were not 3,000 slots. Therefore, a conservative estimate was that there were only about 9,000 martial artists on the list. At this moment, under the onslaught of the crowd, the list of blood slaves was instantly filled up. However, the rankings were not stable and were constantly changing as time passed. In the city of beasts, Tang Ao and Huang Qir looked at the constantly changing points on their identity tags and were extremely shocked. It was because every city of beasts token had Tang Ao and Huang Qir's soul remembrance imprints. Therefore, the blood slaves, blood race, and blood beasts that these warriors had killed had all been added to Tang Ao and Huang Qir's identity tags. Chapter 25:16. Tang Ao and Huang Qir's ranking had skyrocketed, directly entering the top 1,050, top 30, top 20, and only when they had entered the top 20 did their speed start to slow down. However, what kind of people were in the top 20 on the list? Currently, the top 15 were the Yin-Yang Realm martial artists who used to be in the top 10 of the Hidden Dragon list, and 5 Yin-Yang Realm martial artists who used to be in the top 5 of the Heroes list. Although the 5 people in the top 16 to 20 were not at the Yin-Yang Realm, they were all at the peak of the astral reaching realm and half-step into the Yin-Yang Realm. But now, no one knew what had happened in the desolate martial realm. No one knew what Tang Ao and Huang Qir had done to enter the top 19 and 20. Moreover, the two's points were still increasing. However, at this time, the martial artists in front of them still had a horrifying amount of points. Therefore, it was very difficult for Tang Ao and Huang Qir to advance further in the rankings. Huang Qir looked at her ranking in the top 20. She was happy but also a bit worried. She asked, "Senior brother Tang Ao, is it wrong for us to do this?" Hearing Huang Qir's question Tang Ao waved his sleeve and said, "Junior Sister Kier, you have to know that wisdom is also a kind of strength. Look at the guys around us. They're all half-step into the yin-yang realm or directly in the yin-yang realm. At this time, we can't compete with them in terms of cultivation. We have to fully display our wisdom and abilities. This is a trial, not a duel on the dueling platform." Tang Ao said it with a strong sense of righteousness. Huang Kier, who was beside him, also nodded, not fully understanding. The fierce resistance of the human martial artists in the City of Beasts immediately alarmed the blood race. Immediately, more blood race martial artists, more blood slaves, and many blood demons appeared around the City of Beasts. However, at this time, Tang Ao also knew the reason why the City of Beasts could hold on until now. Under Ling Xuyao's organization, there were 9 Grade 1 Immortal Array Masters on each side of the City of Beasts' wall. A Grade 1 Immortal Array Master wouldn't be of much use in this kind of battle. However, if they were to assist in controlling the array flags, they would be of great use. The defense array of the City of Beasts had obviously been painstakingly set up by Ling Xuyao. At this moment, under the control of Ling Xuyao and a group of array masters, it immediately became impregnable. Seeing this, Tang Ao secretly nodded. When Ling Xuyao saw Tang Ao, she ran over happily. "Senior brother Tang Ao, thank you for helping our City of Beasts. Without you, we wouldn't have been able to work together." Tang Ao could feel that this Ling Xuyao was a very pure and kind girl. Unfortunately, in a world of martial arts, what was needed was means and shrewdness. Given the circumstances, it wasn't easy for Ling Xuyao to lead everyone to this point. "You're too polite, Junior Sister Ling. This defense array is already at the level of a Grade 4 unbounded stage Immortal Formation. Why don't you add some offensive formations?" Tang Ao smiled. In the past, Tang Ao would have thought that this was a peak Grade 3 Immortal Formation. But now, Tang Ao didn't think so. When Ling Xuyao had run over, Tang Ao had unintentionally used his skypolarity eyes to take a look. Then he realized that something was wrong. This Ling Xuyao clearly wasn't as simple as Tang Ao thought. Chapter 25:17. There was another hidden array formation beneath this Grade 5 defense array. This hidden array formation was a Grade 7 killing array. A Grade 7 killing array was something that even Chaotic Sky Realm experts wouldn't dare to touch easily. Tang Ao thought that he had been too careless this time. He had actually unintentionally barged into a Grade 7 Immortal Array. It could be said that if Ling Xuyao wanted to kill him now, it would only take a thought for her to do so. At this moment, Tang Ao also understood why Ling Xuyao had looked hesitant and not afraid when leprosy had tried to take advantage of Ling Xuyao. Ling Xuyao controlled a Grade 7 killing array. In the City of Beasts, Ling Xuyao could kill anyone she wanted with a thought. Tang Ao couldn't understand why Ling Xuyao controlled such a powerful array formation. As long as it was activated, the Blood Clan besieging the City of Beasts would only be sending themselves to their deaths. However, why didn't Ling Xuyao activate this Grade 7 killing array? It wouldn't be right if Ling Xuyao wanted the City of Beasts to be breached by the Blood Clan warriors. If Ling Xuyao wanted the City of Beasts to be breached, all Ling Xuyao had to do was remove the defense array and it would be over. At this moment, Tang Ao realized that he actually couldn't understand Ling Xuyao. He didn't know what Ling Xuyao was trying to do. An offensive array formation. Ling Xuyao's eyes dimmed as she muttered softly. After pondering for a moment, Ling Xuyao nodded and said, "All right." With that, Ling Xuyao left. After Ling Xuyao left, Tang Ao heaved a sigh of relief. When he had been talking to Ling Xuyao, Tang Ao had been ready to escape into the chaotic hexagram mirror at any time. Even turbid Heaven Realm martial artists would not dare to face a Grade 7 killing array head-on. If Tang Ao were to be hit by it, he would immediately turn to ashes. However, from beginning to end, Tang Ao did not sense any killing intent from Ling Xuyao. Tang Ao felt like Ling Shuiyao wanted to protect the city of beasts, but at the same time, she didn't want to kill too many blood breeds. This kind of feeling made Tang Ao feel a little absurd. Although human and blood kinder martial artists were not natural enemies, under the current situation, they were definitely enemies. Ling Shuiyao could not bear to kill too many blood kindred martial artists. What was this? One had to know that if the situation were reversed, the Blood Clan martial artists would never show mercy to the human martial artists. With doubts in his mind, Tang Ao returned to his room. The room that Tang Ao and Huang Qir were in was arranged by Ling Shuiyao not long ago. Tang Ao was in charge of refining array flags and elixirs in this room. Because it was a special event, Tang Ao only got a 10% commission. However, Tang Ao still got a lot of good things from this 10% draw. At this time, there was no need to be polite. Although it was a little black-bellied, those immortal materials that were not suitable for refining array flags, but were suitable for refining weapons. Tang Ao took all of them and exchanged them for immortal materials of equivalent value to refine array flags. Although the martial artists of the City of Beasts kept charging, the defense array of the City of Beasts was still under constant attack. Moreover, because of the numerous martial artists charging out, the defense array of the City of Beasts also extended a distance of 100 feet. The defense array of the City of Beasts was a shelter for everyone. If they encountered danger outside, as long as they returned to the defense array in time, they would be able to keep their lives. The Blood Clan martial artists and many blood slaves hated the defense array of the City of Beasts. Therefore, the defense array of the City of Beasts was also taken care of. Chapter 25:18. These few days, Huang Qir and Tang Ao could be said to have been very comfortable. Huang Qir only needed to summon the ancient era's green spirit to provide a certain amount of support and treatment to the many cultivators, while Tang Ao stayed in the 100B city to refine array flags and concoct elixirs. However, the points of the two were increasing at a rapid pace. Tang Ao also felt that he had gone too far. Increasing the points was not a problem, but increasing it constantly was not right. After all, even the warriors ranked in front of Tang Ao and Huang Qir would stop to rest after increasing their points for a while. A warrior's immortal spiritual power and soul remembrance were limited. No matter what method they used, they could not continuously fight for 7 days and 7 nights in a row. Wu Yin and the others naturally discovered this problem, but they didn't blame Tang Ao and Huang Qir. This trial wasn't a competition of cultivation. If cultivation decided everything, then every Heavenly Path trial would send a group of Yin-Yang Realm 3rd level martial artists to participate in the trial. In fact, although Yin-Yang Realm Level 3 martial artists were able to enter the Heaven Mystic Realm in the Heaven Dao trial, they did not gain much in the past few years. Moreover, in the Heavenly Secret Realm, the higher the cultivation, the more difficult the trial would be. There were all kinds of factors in the Heavenly Secret Realm. From a certain perspective, the higher the cultivation, the more difficult the trial would be. At this moment, Wu Yin and Old Hong were only curious about what Tang Ao and Huang Qir had done to increase their points so much. On the 10th day, a group of cultivators wearing silver armor and riding heavenly horses escorted a magnificently dressed cultivator as they fled in a sorry state from afar. Seeing that the 100B city was still standing firm against the Blood Clan's onslaught, the cultivators were overjoyed and they immediately shouted, "Quickly open the defensive array! Heavenly Horse City's Castellan. Young Lord Tian Xing will come to your aid." Bah, this guy is so shameless. He obviously escaped to this place, but he said he was here to help us. Although everyone had the same thought, only Huang Qir said it out loud. Huang Qir's voice was not loud, but everyone heard it clearly. Young Master Heavenly Star and the group were all 9th level astral reaching realm martial artists. Naturally, they had heard Huang Qir's words. Courting death. At that moment, the knight who had spoken first snorted coldly. At the same time, he took out a long spear from his back and shot it towards Huang Qir without hesitation. It was as if he wanted to kill Huang Qir on the spot. Huang Qir raised her hand and was about to summon the Ice Phoenix. However, before Huang Qir could summon the Ice Phoenix, Tang Ao directly raised his hand and punched out. Then, he calmly said, "Scram." After this cultivator discovered that his attack could actually pass through the spirit array, he immediately knew that this spirit array did not block human cultivators. He immediately gave a look to the people behind him, and everyone directly entered the spirit array. Seeing this scene, Tang Ao's expression changed. After a few days of observation, Tang Ao confirmed two things. Firstly, Ling Shuiao didn't know what to do, but Ling Shuiao really wanted to protect the city of beasts. Secondly, Ling Shuiao didn't have any evil intentions towards the other martial artists, Yi Shiwen and Huang Qir. Besides not explaining why this spirit array was a rank 5 spirit array and why the city of beasts was hiding a rank 7 killing array, Ling Shuiao didn't hide anything else. Everyone had their own secrets. It was not strange for Ling Shuiao to have her own secrets. However, Tang Ao now wanted to change the city of beasts' spirit array. The city of beasts' spirit array existed to protect the martial artists of the city of beasts, not to let people like the Heavenly Star young master show off their strength while taking refuge. Bastard, what did you just say? Who is the city master of the city of beasts? Get the hell out here. The young man in the golden robe looked refined, but he had an extremely vicious aura. He had clearly come to the city of beasts to take refuge, but the moment he entered the city of beasts, he immediately turned from guest to host. Leave. You're not welcome here. This time, Ling Shuiao was obviously on Tang Ao's side. During this period, Tang Ao had helped the city of beasts a lot, and many martial artists had received Tang Ao's help. Although Tang Ao spent most of his time refining array flags and elixirs, and rarely went out to kill the Blood Clan and Blood Slaves, no one would think that Tang Ao didn't contribute to the city of beasts. On the contrary, Tang Ao had contributed greatly to the city of beasts. Who do you think you are? Do you think you have a right to speak here? You look okay. Come with me tonight, and I'll spare you the death penalty. Also, Yang Feng cut off the tongues of these two. Huang Tianxing looked at Tang Ao and Huang Qir and ordered with a vicious aura. The one called Yang Feng was the martial artist who had attacked Huang Qir first. He was at astral reaching realm level 9. Although the fact that Tang Ao had blown away his spear with one punch had surprised Yang Feng a bit. Since Huang Tianxing had spoken, then Tang Ao and Huang Qir were already dead. Yang Feng walked over step by step. The silver armor on his body had already been filled with endless thunder and lightning. Chapter 25:19. They had indeed received help from Tang Ao, but in this kind of situation, they did not have the ability to repay him. However, Huang Qir was not afraid at all. Before signing the contract with Cain, she was already able to find a peak level 9 astral reaching realm beast. Now that she had signed the contract with Cain, as long as she summoned him, she would be able to kill these people with one slap. Ling Shuiao's eyes were filled with hesitation. As long as she wanted to, she could summon the hidden rank 7 killing array, and then this Yang Feng would die for sure. However, if she did that, her biggest trump card would be exposed. However, without the help of the rank 7 killing array, Tang Ao and Huang Qir would be killed by Yang Feng for sure. With that thought in mind, Ling Shuiao clenched her teeth, and an array flag appeared in her hand. However, right at that moment, Tang Ao suddenly opened his mouth. "Sister Qir, don't do it. Let me do it." Tang Ao's words surprised Huang Qir. Although Huang Qir was prepared to summon her golden lion if the situation turned bad, she obviously didn't have the intention to summon it now. Ling Xiao heard Tang Ao's words and froze for a second, but she still put away the array flag without saying a word. Although she was curious why Tang Ao, with his astral reaching realm rank 4 cultivation, would have the courage to face a rank 9 astral reaching realm warrior, but somehow, Ling Shuiao trusted Tang Ao a lot at that moment. It was as if in Tang Ao's hands, the impossible could become possible. Just like right now, All the warriors with different thoughts were all trying their best to kill the blood slaves outside the city of beasts. Right at that moment, the long spear in Yang Feng's hand stabbed out angrily. Tang Ao's body shone with a golden light as he performed his King Kong body transformation. The green lotus sword's soul flashed slightly in the air, turning into a green lotus sword and appearing in Tang Ao's hand. Yang Feng's spear swept over. Tang Ao's body turned, and he rapidly dodged. At the same time, Tang Ao turned around and stabbed his sword towards Yang Feng's throat. Yang Feng was also a seasoned fighter. The long spear in his hand, which was flickering with lightning, blocked Tang Ao's green lotus sword. At the same time, he suddenly pushed it and immediately attacked with 33 spear strikes like lightning. The two of them were so fast that everyone could only see the two figures fighting fiercely in midair. Seeing Tang Ao being able to fight against astral-reaching realm level 9 Yang Feng with only astral-reaching realm level 4, a lot of people started to feel that it was hard to breathe. This world was just too crazy. Since when had astral-reaching realm level 4 warriors become so horrifying? Countless strands of sword chi gathered around Tang Ao, and a bleak and desolate feeling swept through the surroundings. Yang Feng sneered, and the silver martial realm electricity surged around his body. Then, the long spear in his hand suddenly shot out, clashing with Tang Ao's wind cloud kill. Tang Ao did not think that he would be able to win with only one attack, since Yang Feng was still an astral-reaching realm level 9 warrior after all. After the wind cloud kill, Tang Ao's sword aura did not stop. Just like Yang Feng, Tang Ao's green lotus sword was also filled with countless thunder and lightning. Yang Feng's eyebrows twitched. This Tang Ao's power was way beyond his imagination. Seeing Tang Ao's attack, Yang Feng did not dare to be careless. He was able to stand out from millions of people and become the head guard of Huang Tianqing. Naturally, he had something special about him. Yang Feng waved the long spear with both of his hands, and a golden thunder and lightning halo appeared above Yang Feng's head. Chapter 25-20. A lot of the warriors down below were shocked by the battle between Tang Ao and Yang Feng. As for Tang Ao's thundercut, it was also the first time that it had been shattered by someone else's spell in a head-on battle. After Yang Feng's thunderball had shattered Tang Ao's thundercut, it continued to attack towards Tang Ao without any hesitation. Tang Ao looked normal as the green lotus sword in his hand danced in the air. Screech! A phoenix cry was heard, and countless sword chi gathered together, forming a sword chi phoenix. As Tang Ao's green lotus sword slashed out beams of sword chi, the figure of the phoenix became clearer and clearer. Go! Tang Ao yelled with a low voice, and the sword chi phoenix immediately clashed with Yang Feng's thunder ring. After this clash, the powerful shockwave spread out in all directions. Those life and death realm warriors could only feel a tightness in their chests, and they could not help but puke out a mouthful of blood. This time, Yang Feng's lightning ring was also dispersed by Phoenix Dance's ninth heaven sword chi. I admit that you are very powerful. You do not need to reach the astral reaching realm level 9. As long as you reach the astral reaching realm level 7, or even the astral reaching realm level 6, I might not be your opponent anymore. But right now, you are still far behind. Yang Feng was not in a hurry to attack. Instead, he listened. Oh yeah? Now that I have beaten you, you'll get the hell out of here? Tang Ao's tone was cold, and there was a vague, killing intent spreading out. Haha, Yang Feng is this young master's chief bodyguard. If you can defeat Yang Feng, this young master will twist my head off. If you lose, I will leave your head behind. Do you dare? Huang Tianqing looked at Tang Ao with a mocking look, as if he was sure that he could beat Tang Ao. In Huang Tianqing's opinion, these martial artists in the City of Beasts were just lucky that an expert had left a top-notch defense array in the City of Beasts. Otherwise, they would have been long dead. I have no use for your head. If he loses, you guys can scram. Tang Ao's long hair fluttered in the wind. His voice was indifferent. It was impossible to tell whether he was happy or angry. This was how Tang Ao looked when he was serious. Once Tang Ao was serious, his opponent would be in danger. The fight with Yang Feng just now was just a test. Now that both sides had a certain understanding of each other, there was no need to test each other. It's time to end this, kid. When Yang Feng saw Tang Ao's arrogant words, he brandished the spear in his hand, and 3 thunder suns appeared above Yang Feng's head. These 3 huge balls of lightning were even more berserk than before. They were no longer balls of lightning, but rather suns filled with lightning. It was not easy for Tang Ao to block the previous balls of lightning. How was Tang Ao going to block these balls of lightning? Green Lotus Sword Array. Against these 3 balls of lightning, Tang Ao didn't just use the 8 Desolation Sword Chi. Instead, he immediately used the strongest sword technique that Tang Ao had mastered, the Green Lotus Sword Array. Green flowers were refined in the Void Array, and rays of sword chi swept across the sky. When Yang Feng's balls of lightning came crashing over, a sword chi storm immediately appeared around Tang Ao. Green arrows emerged from the Green Lotus, forming a sword array boundary in front of Tang Ao. When Yang Feng's 3 balls of lightning entered the sword array boundary, it was as if they had fallen into a swamp, and their movements were slow. At this moment, a shocking sword chi burst out. In front of everyone, Yang Feng's 3 balls of lightning were mercilessly sliced apart. Chapter 25-21. But right now, this spell that Yang Feng was so proud of had lost to a level 4 astral reaching realm warrior in a head-on battle. Although he and Tang Ao were evenly matched with his level 9 astral reaching realm cultivation, he had lost completely this time. I will kill you. At this moment, Yang Feng was thoroughly enraged. He must tear Tang Ao to shreds to quell the anger in his heart. Yang Feng roared. The long spear in his hand, which was shining with lightning, was immediately shot toward Tang Ao, as if it was going to kill Tang Ao in the air. On the other hand, the sword chi in Tang Ao's hand suddenly exploded, sweeping out in all directions. Beams of sword chi swept out, and Yang Feng's long spear was blown away by Tang Ao. Rolling Thunder Palm. Yang Feng quickly formed a spell with both of his hands, and countless thunderbolts gathered in his hands. Thunder Thousand Hand Print. Tang Ao didn't think that he would encounter such a confrontation again. However, Tang Ao also wanted to know the difference between him and a martial artist with a pure thunder spiritual root, which he had deduced using the 7 killing sacred path. In the blink of an eye, thousands of thunder handprints appeared behind Tang Ao. It was neat and tidy, and the aura was overwhelming. Boom! All of a sudden, the spirit power spread out, making horrifying explosions in the air. Tang Ao and Yang Feng's bodies were completely drowned. Waves of powerful shock waves spread out, and many buildings in the City of Beasts were instantly turned into ruins. Right then, a figure flew out from the center of the battle. Everyone looked over and realized that the person who had flown out was actually Yang Feng. Then, Tang Ao waved his sleeves, and the dust around him dissipated. Pure Thunder Spirit Root is just SOSO. Piss off now. Through the battle, just now, Tang Ao could tell that this Yang Feng was only slightly more powerful than the Purple Bone Wolf. In the true martial realm, the gap between astral reaching realm warriors was too big. Back then, when dealing with the Purple Bone Wolf, Tang Ao had used all of his methods, but he was still unable to kill the heavily injured Purple Bone Wolf. Furthermore, he was only able to injure the Purple Bone Wolf by a fluke. However, the Purple Bone Wolf was only at Astral Reaching Realm Level 6, while this Yang Feng was at Astral Reaching Realm Level 9. If Tang Ao didn't hesitate to use the Primordial Sacred Heaven Bow, he could kill Yang Feng with 1 arrow. However, there were too many people around, so there was no need for Tang Ao to reveal his trump card. All of you, attack and kill him for me. But to everyone's surprise, Huang Tianxing was shameless to the extreme. After Yang Feng lost to Tang Ao, Not only did Huang Tianxing not think of leaving, but he also ordered the surrounding guards to attack together, wanting to kill Tang Ao. However, this time, when Huang Tianxing's guards attacked, a lot of people from the City of Beasts immediately appeared in front of Tang Ao. All of these warriors were at astral reaching realm level 9, which was a couple of times more than Huang Tianxing and the rest. Young Master Huang, we have all been through a lot. Let's forgive people when possible. If you like the City of Beasts, then just stay. If not, we will send you out. The one who spoke was a fat man with a red face. Through these few days, Tang Ao knew that this fat man was the leader of the Autumn Wind Chamber of Commerce, and he was also an astral-reaching realm level 9 warrior. This time, there were 8 warriors from the Autumn Wind Chamber of Commerce. It was obvious that this Song Qiufeng wanted to make friends with Tang Ao. Tang Ao had a good impression of this fat man. Plus, even though some warriors had taken out the Tai Immortal Gold, the first place of the contribution rank was still this fat man. Chapter 25-22. Haha, brother Tang Ao, you're too polite, too polite. Song Qiufeng was indeed a businessman. Even though he had offended the young lord of Stellar Sky City, Huang Tianxing, he still spoke with a smile. Song Qiufeng, are you tired of living? Huang Tianxing said coldly when he saw that Song Qiufeng dared to step forward. Haha, young Master Tianxing, what are you saying? I'm not that much older than your father, but your father is looking everywhere for life-continuing pills. How could I live long enough? Although Song Qiufeng was smiling, it didn't mean that he didn't have a temper. The desolate martial realm did not have any powerhouses at the chaotic heaven realm, nor did it have a realm lord. However, the desolate martial realm was dominated by 2 top forces. One was the Stellar Sky City, and the other was the Thousand Merchant House. The Immortal Ruins Chamber of Commerce was so powerful. It had been in the desolate martial realm for tens of thousands of years, but it could only hide in a corner. It could not cover the entire desolate martial realm because of the existence of the Thousand Merchant House and the Heavenly Star City. The Immortal Ruins Chamber of Commerce claimed to control 40% of the desolate martial realm's resources, but everyone knew that 20% of the resources were transferred from other martial realms by the Immortal Ruins Chamber of Commerce. Therefore, the real situation of the desolate martial realm was that the Immortal Ruins Chamber of Commerce controlled 20% of the resources, while the Thousand Merchant House and the Heavenly Star City controlled 40% of the resources. Behind Huang Tianxing was Heavenly Star City, and Song Qiufeng was one of the 12 gold medal elders of the Thousand Merchant House. In terms of status, Song Qiufeng was slightly inferior to Huang Tianxing. However, in terms of actual power, Song Qiufeng was not afraid of Huang Tianxing at all. Song Qiufeng, you're courting death. Kill him for me. Hearing Song Qiufeng mention his sore spot, Huang Tianxing flew into a rage. However, the guard behind Huang Tianxing were somewhat hesitant. Song Qiufeng clearly had more people on his side than they did. With Song Qiufeng's status, how could they kill him just because they wanted to? If they killed Song Qiufeng now, it wouldn't be long before his head was no longer on his neck. You're afraid of Song Qiufeng, but aren't you afraid of me? Huang Tianxing's eyes flashed with anger, and he suddenly pulled out a golden saber. This was the Stellar Sky City Lord's saber, and it was the symbol of the Stellar Sky City Lord. If they were to die under this blade, their deaths would be in vain. But at this time, a martial artist with a goatee walked to Huang Tianxing's side. Seeing this martial artist, Huang Tianxing immediately knew what he wanted to do. Mr. Kuan-Yang, this time you don't need to persuade me. I want to kill that damn fatty Song Qiufeng today. In the distance, Tang Ao sighed inwardly. This Song Qiufeng was really able to keep his composure. If he was repeatedly provoked like this, he would have long since made Huang Tianxing bleed. But right now, Tang Ao did not say anything more. Instead, he swallowed the pill and made the best use of his time to regulate his breathing. If this Huang Tianxing were to really cause trouble later on, Tang Ao would just kill him. Tang Ao was not a martial artist of the desolate martial domain. If he offended this heavenly star city, Tang Ao could just run back to the Langya domain. Tang Ao didn't believe that these fellows from the Stellar Sky City would dare to cause trouble in the Langya domain. Putting everything else aside, the ruin of Immortality Chamber of Commerce already had Chaos Heaven Realm martial artists outside. Unless the people of Stellar Sky City were tired of living, they wouldn't dare to cause trouble for Tang Ao in the ruin of Immortality Chamber of Commerce. Chapter 25-23. However, from the looks of it, LV Kunyang was the real deal. While Tang Ao was sizing up LV Kunyang was looking at Tang Ao, Huang Qi, and Ling Shuiyao with a grave expression. Then LV Kunyang shook his head helplessly. LV Kunyang was an expert in divination. Under his divination, the others in the City of Beasts weren't worth mentioning, but these three guys were extremely dangerous. LV Kunyang could sense a dense, dangerous aura from Tang Ao, and he could sense a blood-red, murderous intent from Ling Shuiyao and Huang Qi. In other words, if Huang Qi and Ling Shuiyao were willing, they had the ability to get rid of their group. No matter how hedonistic Huang Tianqing was, he wouldn't dare to joke around with his life. LV Kunyang was an expert in divination, and he definitely wouldn't be wrong. If LV Kunyang said that these three guys were dangerous, then they must be. In another 3 days, there would be Yin-Yang Realm martial artists coming from Stellar Sky City. No matter how strong Tang Ao and the other two were, they wouldn't be a match for Yin-Yang Realm martial artists. This was what LV Kunyang said to him and gave him an idea. Although LV Kunyang was full of evil tricks, Huang Tianqing still admired LV Kunyang's idea. Fatty song. I will keep your head for a few more days. I will be staying here for a few days. Don't come looking for trouble. After Huang Tianqing finished speaking, he walked toward the courtyard. At this moment, there were blood slaves everywhere. This time, when they came to the City of Beasts, Yang Feng, the trash, was severely injured by Tang Ao. At this moment, it wasn't a wise choice to enter the City of Beasts. I told you to get lost. Before Huang Tianqing could take a few steps, Tang Ao's cold voice echoed. As Tang Ao spoke, Song Qiufeng and the others also took a few steps forward. Ha ha! Very good, very good. You better kill this young master today, otherwise you will definitely. Huang Tianqing's words had not yet finished, when a sense of death suddenly surged in his heart. Huang Tianqing's guards immediately appeared in front of Huang Tianqing, while LV Kunyang took out a talisman and prepared himself. At this moment, they also felt a ghastly killing intent. The source of this killing intent was Tang Ao. To be precise, it was the golden bow in Tang Ao's hand. The primordial sacred heaven bow, LV Kunyang exclaimed with just a glance. LV Kunyang was good at divination, so he was not someone without knowledge. There were less than 3,000 ninth-grade immortal tools in the true martial world. Although many of them had gone missing, LV Kunyang could still recognize them at a glance. Huang Tianqing didn't recognize the primordial sacred heaven bow, but it didn't mean that he hadn't heard of it. Huang Tianqing didn't expect that this treasure, which had disappeared for tens of thousands of years, was in the hands of Tang Ao. However, after knowing that the bow in Tang Ao's hand was the primordial sacred heaven bow, Huang Tianqing didn't dare to talk nonsense. Go, let's go. Huang Tianqing and the others cautiously retreated from the City of Beasts while guarding against Tang Ao. This was because Huang Tianqing could clearly feel that Tang Ao had a killing intent towards him. In other words, if Tang Ao wanted to, Tang Ao could really kill him. At this moment, Huang Tianqing was very grateful to LV Kunyang. LV Kunyang's deduction was right. Tang Ao had such a terrifying immortal tool in his hand, but it was very dangerous. Chapter 25-24. Shoo! At this moment, a horrifying air-piercing sound was heard, followed by a piercing scream. Save me! Feeling the killing intent coming from the mysterious sky arrow, Huang Tianqing roared. At the same time, LV Kunyang threw out a golden talisman, and the arrow shot by Tang Ao also clashed with the golden talisman. After the arrow broke through the shield of the golden talisman, Huang Tianxing and the group also disappeared. Seeing Huang Tianxing escape, Song Qiufeng thought it was a pity. She knew about Tang Ao's identity. Therefore, she hoped that Huang Tianxing would die in Tang Ao's hands. The immortal ruined Chamber of Commerce had always wanted to exert their power in the desolate martial realm. Perhaps they would use this opportunity to suppress the Sky Star City. It was a pity that Tang Ao's previous arrow was clearly an arrow at the end of its flight. Although Tang Ao had defeated Yang Feng, with a huge gap in cultivation, Tang Ao had obviously suffered some injuries in addition to the damage of his celestial spirit power. Sister Shui Yao changed the defensive array. In the future, except for warriors with identity tags, no other warriors can enter without permission. Tang Ao knew that this kind of change would not be easy. Even if Tang Ao did it himself, it would take a lot of effort. However, Tang Ao also knew that the defensive array of the City of Beasts was completely under Ling Xuyao's control. Therefore, it would not be difficult for Ling Xuyao to change it. Although Huang Tianxing and the group had escaped, the battle between Tang Ao and Yang Feng was still being talked about by many warriors in the City of Beasts. The astral reaching realm was a cultivation stage with a lot of water. Because of the rich celestial spirit qi in the true martial realm, it was easy for warriors to increase their cultivation. However, even among astral reaching realm warriors, there was still a huge difference in their power. Many people estimated that if Tang Ao's cultivation was the same as Yang Feng's, then Yang Feng would not be able to survive a single move from Tang Ao. While the outside world was talking about it, Tang Ao was quietly refining pills in his room. "Brother Tang Ao, do you have time?" After Tang Ao finished refining a batch of pills, Song Qiufeng's voice came over. Although Song Qiufeng had helped him with ulterior motives, Tang Ao still appreciated her kindness. Moreover, Tang Ao also knew that in this world, no one would help you for no reason. "May I know why Brother Song is looking for me?" Tang Ao said straightforwardly. "Good, straightforward." Song Qiufeng gave Tang Ao a thumbs up. "Brother Tang Ao, although I'm a businessman, I don't like to beat around the bush. I've heard a bit about your matters in the immortal ruins these days." Hearing Song Qiufeng say that he didn't like to beat around the bush, Tang Ao's face lit up. After all, Tang Ao didn't want to waste time. However, after hearing the latter part of Song Qiufeng's words, Tang Ao felt that this guy was lying through his teeth. If there was anything, he could just speak frankly. And now, he was talking about his matters in the immortal ruins. Tang Ao had been in the immortal ruins for a long time, and so many things had happened. How could Tang Ao know what Song Qiufeng was talking about? At this moment, Tang Ao said patiently, "May I know what matter Brother Song is referring to?" "Ha ha ha, Brother Tang Ao, this is where you're wrong. You're proficient in refining scarlet gold immortal artifacts. This matter can be said to be known by everyone in the immortal ruins. Although I'm far away in the desolate martial realm, I've heard a bit about it." Hearing Song Qiufeng's words, Tang Ao immediately understood that this guy wanted him to help refine a scarlet gold immortal artifact. When Tang Ao first went to Jinsha City, he wanted to get some pure gold sand. However, before he could get the pure gold sand, Tang Ao found clues about the 5-element soil. Compared to the pure gold sand, the 5-element soil was, of course, more important. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.